Well, welcome.
Waiting for the stream to start. There we go. We're streaming.
Hello.
Yay!
Welcome.
We haven't sent out the link yet, so no one's gonna beat you.
Yeah.
We'll wait then. And we'll wait till the link has been sent.
This is the funniest thing that we do.
Is when Atlas is just like trying to find everything.
No, just like in general. I don't know. I'm having a day.
You're
It's
valid.
Friday.
Do you need anything?
No. I just need to hang with my friends and ask them probing questions about them and their characters. Because I've got a little list here written down, so take a look.
I got a list, but these are just Rain's questions. And
Rain sent you questions?
I asked them to send
Cool, because
questions.
the only question I got from Rain is, does Landon have a fat ass? So...
Yes.
Give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 questions.
Ooh, I have more.
9, and then I
It's
got
not a
2.
competition.
And then I got 2 from Rachel Shannon.
So glad that Ike is currently fighting all of our fans for who...
Listen, I am honestly... I think it's true for all 4 of us. The biggest fans of this campaign are us. They're not anyone else.
We have done the most...
Who's written the most fan fiction? Who's done the most fan art? Who's made the most fan playlists? This is the group of people who's done those things.
Link has been sent.
Low-key, we should make like a wait, that was a really good idea.
3 people are watching.
We should make like a Tumblr blog or something where we can post our content. Like, it would be a good place to put all of the fic and like the art and stuff that we do, because I'm like, I don't know what to do with this except for like show it to my friends.
I wish I had started a different YouTube channel just for Urban Shadow stuff, because I have enough of my stuff on my YouTube channel that I can't just be like, scrap it, let's just go.
You can make a new one and then upload it to that, and then just delete the...
I don't know how to upload the videos. I want my vampire fangs. Fun fact, the only reason that the videos got uploaded to YouTube is because it's a singular button on Twitch.
Ah.
Handy dandy.
It's export,
Ooh.
and then I check off public, and then it's on my YouTube. But yeah, hello everyone.
Hello.
I will be monitoring chat.
Hello,
We have
hello.
3 viewers.
Okay,
One of them is me.
Yeah,
So.
do you want to... Yeah, you two can monitor
Because I have
chat
some chats
if
open.
there's questions.
Yeah, because you know I'm not.
Welcome to the bonus episode.
Yay.
Okay. Let's go put myself on this. Give me a second. Oh no.
Oh, you
If I...
The bed is unmade and there's laundry on it. Whatever. No one cares.
Actually, Louisa, I
Hello.
need everything to be clean.
Well, what you gonna do about it for New Hampshire?
End the stream.
Alright.
Alright. Let's do it. I don't know how we're going to structure this, but hello, welcome to this sweet bonus session of the new Paxton campaign. I don't know. It's a fun time. We got questions for each other. We got questions from you guys.
We just want an excuse to talk about this.
Every
Really
morning
do.
we wake up at 8 a.m.
We do, yeah.
I wake
Our
up at
chat.
about 7 and I
wake up at noon.
look, and someone will have something at like 2 a.m. that morning, so I have to respond to that, and then I get really excited about something, and then Atlas is also awake, which he shouldn't be.
Yeah, no, night crew is me and Atlas, but then morning crew is also Atlas and Ike.
And then Janine
I'm working
at
doubles.
disturbing times. I feel like 9 a.m. and Janine's popping on it. I'm like, Janine,
Where did you come from? That's 6 a.m.
Janine, you should turn off Do Not Disturb when you're asleep, my dude.
But it's so nice to hear a buzz, and I'm like, friends, and then go back to sleep most of the time. Sometimes I'll like it and then go back to sleep.
Okay.
Just sleep, it's not worth it.
Just put it on Do Not Disturb, my dude.
90% of the time it's me going, Julius is beautiful. And then that's it. That's the full
And then
complete
at
thought.
7 a.m. you'll get a text that says, valid from me.
Yeet.
Correct,
Okay.
and I love him.
How do we want to questions? I can start with a couple of the ones we got.
Sure.
Sure.
You can do anything.
So,
I literally.
Rachel asks, "What are people's favorite moments from the campaign?"
Oh,
That's
Jesus.
one of my questions, so I can check it off my list.
Oh, I do know this.
I mean, I'm gonna give one of my favorite moments, which is the Landon Dante talking at like watch thing. I think that kind of summarized and kickstarted a very interesting relationship that almost immediately went very wrong. And I think like it's a very distilled moment of like what could be. Because Ike and I have talked a lot, like off screen, about how Landon and Dante are very, very similar.
They're so fucking similar.
And they have a lot of interesting backstory things that they're not going to talk to each other about, because at this point in the story, they need to get past certain things before they'll like talk about their histories. And so I'm gonna highlight that as a moment for me, because I think it encapsulates a lot.
That's the good shit. My favorite moments are anytime Atlas is giving a really passionate monologue or something, and like legitimately, when you like physicalize it and you just sort of do it like so beautifully. It's like not too dramatic, but it's really like, I just think it's beautiful, and I love watching you do it.
I love you. I have. Yeah. If you have more, please continue.
I'm trying to think of like a specific moment. I don't know if I can think of any specific examples of that, just because you do it a lot. I mean, obviously, the part. I mean, it's pretty recent, so I remember it. The part where Dante and Julius are dancing.
Yes.
In the club. And then also, as I watched back on the stream, realizing that I danced the entire time that was going on while a different scene was happening. Atlas, hit me.
See, the issue is my favorite moments that I remember, I might only remember them as my favorite moments because they weren't on stream, and therefore I can't see how much of an ass I made of myself. But I do just remember being very proud of my speech at the end of our first ever session to Julius to Landon. And it was Landon. It was one of Landon's softer moments also, where he was like, "I can get you out of here." And Julius was like, "No one can save me, and you'll get hurt trying, so don't bother." And like, I just think like, and then he like kissed his hand and like patted Landon on the cheek and just walked back into Bloodsport. And that is my personal favorite moment of like my role play, because I think I just did a very good job of encapsulating like Julius, especially when I didn't know him as well as I do now. But I also, every time, and I wish we had more moments of this, but we haven't gotten there, but I think we will get them as a few more, especially as Landon goes off in search of Anthony. Julius and Dante moments, just because Dante hits my, and I've mentioned this to y'all before, Dante hits my perfect like type where she's hard against everyone except Julius. And that's that's very important to me, is that like she hates a lot and she is very cold to a lot of people, but then there's Julie baby and she like wants to make sure he's okay. And so seeing that softness from her that honestly Julius doesn't recognize as something as special as it is, because he's just like, that's how me and Dante act. Like, that's something that I really love to see, and we don't get it a lot, but I like when it does get to happen.
What about you, Janine?
Yeah, what's your highlight reel?
Jeez, I think I'm gonna be honest, anytime you guys do rumors makes me like really excited, because I get to see your guys' brains work, especially in terms of like how to like add to the story, even if it's like, I don't know, I want something random to happen here and you guys just throw that at me, because it's like, okay, cool, because I like, it adds to the mechanic of like all of us working together to create this world, and that's why I really like the rumors. Or anytime you guys are like this thing exists now, and I'm like,
Okay.
Oh.
I'm just thinking about Lil Pizza's Big Pizza.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. That was
Something I think is really interesting about Urban Shadows, the system, is they don't specify a lot of the mythology for the like characters. So like Janine and I sat down and like decided how someone becomes a werewolf, which is I don't think it's been brought up, and it's like canonically a secret, so it'll show up at some point. But like,
because last time a little bit, because Maeve was like, "Oh, or if you never mind," and O was like, "What?" and she was like, "Nothing."
Yeah, no, I think so. Like help Janine come up with like the vampire mythos, and like we have been able to like collaborate on the like actual mechanics of the creatures, which is something that most systems already have pre-baked, which I think is interesting.
The vampire thing is fun because there's so many silly myths about vampires. Like the mirror thing was a great gag that came up, and I was just like, yeah, taking it. But then I they'll know this, but I spent the next day being like, holy shit, wait, I don't know how scientifically that works. Because I was like, but she shows up in photos, but not in mirrors. I was like freaking out. And I was so worried that somebody would like get mad at me, not like in this group, but like someone would be like, excuse me, what are you talking about? Fuck you, it's magic. And I think mirrors have a specific kind of this is my sort of thought, that mirrors have a very special property. They're often used as magic sort of things, like magic mirrors. Or like how the reflection in the lake shows you your home. So it's not even like what the mirror is made out of. It's that reflective quality of a mirror. Why not photos? I don't know. Fuck you. Because I want her to be in pictures, and it's difficult if she can't be.
Maddie just commented, it's been fun going back through and noting who makes each of the rumors and how they come back in. It's also fun when we forget something that we said, and then like a session or two later, Janine's just like, you get fucked, and you're just like, I did that. Specifically with Whisper Ivy, because I wasn't even there for that session. Yeah. And then the next session, it was my character that got whoopsh.
Yeah, fun times with those. That leads on to like Rachel's next question, which is what was one of the unexpected derailments that you guys threw at me? That's happens. I feel like
all the time. I'm certain.
Physically,
literally everything.
You could tell when something has been derailed in like how I react to everyone decently well.
You get quiet and you smile and you just look through your papers, like.
I feel like we really fucked with you this last time with going to Miranda instead of Jane.
See, I am firm about this one that like that was less of, I mean, it was definitely a derailment, but instead of like a train that went off a track and into a river, it's the train went off the tracks but kept going somehow towards its destination.
We just pulled the lever and just made it go on a different...
I'm honestly very happy about that. Yeah. Like, not that we did that, sorry about your plans, but like, it wasn't us fucking around, it was us solving a problem.
Yes.
Our characters had.
In a, like,
that's
valid
really exciting
way.
to me.
It was a fun derailment, and, like, having to, like, move around it in a certain way was really fun. God,
I think we definitely get sidetracked a lot as a group, but I think for the most part, we do manage to, like, still remain plot-centric, which I'm proud of us for. Like, I don't know, I've given, like, Landon a lot of, like, PI-esque qualities to, like, cause him to want to investigate things, which is sometimes not great when you end up at a wedding and you're interrogating everyone and you abandon your pseudo-boyfriend, but, like, sometimes it's useful for, like, keeping the plot on track. And I think, like, with, like, Reefer deciding that they cared about this cat, like,
yeah, that was
like character decisions that cause us to motivate the plot forward and rationalize that in an interesting way. That is cool.
Yeah, I was just thinking about Reefer because, like, the driving force behind Reefer is curiosity above anything else. So having a character that actually wants to find things out and solve mysteries has been very good for plot.
Sometimes you make a character that has two friends, and then the two friends are very good at following plot, and so then your character is very good at following plot. And that's Julius, because he really is a very complacent person, but that like is a valid way of playing a character as long as someone is interested in the plot. You can't have three characters that are just like, we all have the same exact interest with no conflict within that.
Yeah,
But as much as
sure.
we like make jokes about this being a dating sim, I do feel like we find a good balance most of the time of like,
Yeah.
okay, we're gonna have some inter-party like and personal relationship moments, and we're gonna be building our characters, but also, oh no, we gotta fight Luna. Fuck Luna.
Yeah. Like, one of my legitimately biggest challenges has been trying to get Dante to care about the plot enough to do something. Like, because, like, the knee-jerk reaction for me is just for her to be like, I'm not going to deal with this. But I have to, so trying to figure out how that works and what it is about her that wants to do X, Y, and Z is exciting and fun and difficult.
I'm a Dante stan. Dante stan first, human being second.
I have a dumb side question, which I have definitely, I think, texted people because it amuses me, which is, if your characters were D&D characters, what class would they be? I think it's extremely funny. Yeah.
Yeah. And I forget what I said, but I'll come up with the answers again. Although I feel like I had really good answers. It's fine. I'll think of it.
Oh my god. See, Julius would be a bard, but he'd be a weird bard because his thing is like dancing instead of voice or like instrument. So he'd be like a break dancing bard. He'd be a stripper bard. He'd be like which I think is powerful and something that should be explored.
Landon is 800% a blood runner, which for many reasons you would think warlock, but no, blood hunter. Because it's all about making yourself more monstrous to fight monsters. Also, the blood hunter class was inspired by Geralt of Rivia, and Landon is also partially inspired by Geralt of Rivia. Maeve is like a weird barbarian. She's like the nicest barbarian.
We love a grog type.
Let's see. Oh, Miranda's easy. So Miranda's a bard, absolutely. I have played her as a bard. For context, Miranda is a very old OC of mine who I have adapted to Urban Shadows, much to poor Janine's chagrin. She was the lead villain of the campaign I ran for the first 2 years of college that Janine was in. A good time.
Oh, I don't know what... O would probably... I have said this. O would multi-class... Barbarian and Rogue, I think, is what I decided, because he sneaks around and he's very angry.
I get like Spirit Guardians going, like the barbarian with the ghost shit.
I was gonna say Reefa's Rogue, but Reefa's Rogue Druid is the most powerful thing in my mind. And Dante is interesting. I think one of my favorite qualities about her is the idea of her power being like sort of thrust upon her in a way that she didn't control. I find that really interesting. So maybe like fucking sorcerer. I don't know.
I could see Dante as a sorcerer. It's a charisma class. It feels.
This is also true.
God, I would die for Dante.
Yeah, that's my answer for now.
Do you need any NPCs you want to chime in on their class?
Simon.
Simon is either a warlock or a sorcerer. One of those two. Luna is still a wizard.
Hate her so much.
And then Griffin is based off of a character in Louise's campaign and is Paladin.
Yeah.
Sweet soft boy who wasn't a werewolf in Louise's.
No, he was not a werewolf.
Not a werewolf.
Just a standard Oath of Devotion Paladin, I believe.
Yes. He's an honest boy that I adore, who I actually never got to meet in Louise's.
Yeah. What a whole shebang that was.
Oh,
Boo,
we're
werewolves,
chilling.
boo. Who said that?
Yeah. Let's see. Building off of character questions, how does everyone get into character?
That's one of my questions.
That was one of my questions.
Cross
Mostly
them
because I
off
know,
the
and it's very
list.
funny.
It's very funny. I enjoy it. Wants to
Landon, emo music. I have a playlist for him I listen to. Maeve, I go and I skip. I literally just go into my hall and I skip and I come back. Miranda, I never need to do anything to get to character. I'm always ready to go.
I don't do a lot to get into character, but I have the ritual for Dante. I wear the red lipstick and it really helps me out. And I also brush my teeth and floss right before, so that I'm ready to just show my mouth a lot. And then Reefs is new. I got these platform shoes and I was like, if I wear them, I think I'll be in character. So I did that, and lo and behold. But yeah. But if you'll notice, I don't know. I just feel like I'm like, I don't know what I'm talking about. I feel like my character carries through literally my sort of mood the whole session. Like during the Dante sessions, I'm sitting it's even when I'm not in there. It just makes me happy.
Favorite moment from campaign is you just don't stop until we stop dancing, and I love that because God, that's me. That's me when you guys started a whole nother scene and I sat there like this still. Just because in character Julius was on the phone. Oh,
Alice, how do you get a character?
well, for O, I listen to a lot of My Chemical Romance, and just anti-establishment music. And I specifically jump around and try to headbang and get as close to punching things without having to punch things as possible is my kind of momentum for him, because he's just very energetic but also very angry. God, I love that boy. Julius, it used to be just a little bit, but I've expanded into other songs where I just do a striptease to a song that's moving me at that point in time, that is very Julius-esque. And I just get fully into it, and just most self-confidence, the most confident I am in my physical form is right before we start sessions as Julius, because I'm not looking at myself, but I'm just you're sexy, you're a vampire blood bag, everyone wants a piece of this.
Janine, do you have any pre-sesh rituals?
It depends on what I have planned for the session. It depends if I'm going to be having I listen to lots of the character playlists that I've created, and the moods, each one is a different mood, and I listen to those that I know, so it sets me up for what I'm going to be doing. I think, Louisa, you were watching me on Spotify listen to Luna's playlist.
Someone's playlist, and it had a lot of the same songs as Miranda's playlist, and I cackled.
Yeah, and I don't remember which night that was, but I do remember I was like, all right, let's go, because I needed to pump myself up. But that's mostly it. Yeah.
If anyone ever wants access to any character playlists, I make them for many things. Characters, character relationships. I consider it my pride and joy. Hit me up.
Currently, Louise is working on an A-team one.
General A-team one. It's a little bit harder because I usually do ones that fit lyrically is how I choose songs, and finding trio dynamic songs lyrically very hard. So instead I'm just going for general vibe.
A song that doesn't fit A-team but I think fits B-team, it's from Lightning Thief.
Friend of Monsters?
No.
Killer Quest?
Yes!
Killer Quest, yeah.
I just feel specifically the group of Reefer, Maeve, and O.
Who is who in that? Because Maeve cannot possibly be Annabeth.
Maeve is Grover. Reefer is Annabeth.
Yeah.
O is Percy.
Correct. Okay.
We should learn that dance. Just a bold thought on my part.
Speaking of dream, I have a question that I like. If you, as a person, were going to work on solving a mystery, what characters from Urban Shadows would you want in your squad team?
Landon.
I couldn't deal with Landon.
I could.
Like, not necessarily for their, like, mystery-solving qualities, just, like...
Louisa Blatt is obsessed with Dante, which is really fun, because Landon can't deal with Dante, and Louisa loves her so much.
The nice thing is that I get to have so much fun with Landon, and I love him so much.
My dream team is probably...
Honestly, O. I feel like O and I would get along great.
That one is interesting to me.
Because I feel like O is an angsty teen, and I understand angsty teens fundamentally.
Louisa's just like, oh, same hat.
Whereas, like, adults scare me to some extent. Honestly, Maeve might be the choice for me. She just seems like a good time. She might annoy me a little bit. O seems like an angsty teen, and I can relate to him. We can have a good time.
My dream team is actually probably Landon, Reefer, and Dante. Just because I feel like I'd want to impress Reefer and Dante exponentially, but I feel like Dante would be like, come here. Get in this web. Come on. Landon's hot, and I want to meet him in real life so bad. He's brooding. I want him to pick me up. And then Reefer, I just want Reefer to look me up and down and go, interesting, and then or fascinating.
I love my sweet boy Landon. I could not solve a mystery with him. Oh my god, he would get so like broody PI. He'd like storm off. I'm like, where'd you go? Like, we're supposed to be working on this together, asshole. Like,
I just fucking follow him around. God, that would be the dream.
I think Maeve, because both of us are most likely on the same wavelength.
I think Maeve would be a good team.
And Dante, just because she'll keep us in check. Because I know if you throw me and Maeve in the same room, it's just chaos, and I feel like Dante's the only one who can handle that chaos.
You're being very generous.
What about you?
Yes. Your dream team.
I don't know. I feel like Reef and I would be a really dynamic duo. I feel like Julius and I would be really good friends.
I stand Julius.
I don't know. I picked the question solving a mystery with somebody. I think Simon would be a good person to have on my team.
Simon seems chill. Simon seems like a good pick.
I feel like if it was
I want to marry Simon.
I mean, Maeve is very cool, but I think she's just sort of the least threatening to our demographic.
Yeah. Like, Maeve is
somebody my age who's yeah. I feel like I could vibe with O, but there's like a 20% chance that we wouldn't vibe at all. Like, it'd be anti-vibing. So.
See, I could not hang out with Julius because I think me and him would start a competition over who is the most, and that would just go downhill very quickly.
Julius exudes party person in a way that Louisa Blatt will never. I would not get along with him. I appreciate him so much as a character. I just feel like we'd vibe,
but maybe that's just because I vibe with him really hard. And that's another one of my questions, which is which character besides your own, and this can be either a PC or an NPC, do you relate to the most, and why?
I think it's Kathy. Kathy's just me. Awkward, small, just trying her best.
Janine, that counts as your character.
That is one of your characters.
There's so many characters. Also, I think
You have an easier job than us because we have 2 characters we can't be. You have
then
every
Kathy's
NPC.
one of mine, because I forget that I do every other character. Kathy's one of mine, but also O or Maeve. Maeve more specifically, but O with the friendship ties and the angsty boy times that I have. But Maeve is the closest to me. It's playing Isabel opposite of Maeve is just me having a conversation with myself.
Great time. God, this is hard for me, because
You're not Julius.
I can rule certain people out. Julius, absolutely.
Yeah.
Incorrect. Reefer, no.
Fascinating.
O is a certain version of me from 3 years ago, but more willing to act on anger, which I am not. I am the world's most conflict avoidant person.
Really?
Honestly, by process of elimination, I know who it is. It's Simon. I'm Simon. Here's why. A lot of the specific family angst with like speaks to me in a fun way, and like the general like vibe of, for like a lot of my life, like I was like the periphery friend, and I feel like that's kind of his role somewhat at this point. And like just the way he like acts, he's a pretty normal dude. Like never once has he taken an action, and I'm like, I would never do that. So yeah, I'd say Simon. That's my answer.
I have no idea, so if you want to go, please.
I mean, I said it is Julius, and I was just remembering why it is. It's because Julius's romantic storyline really fucking vibes with me. Like the emotional turmoil in the Feywild. It's like, oops, but also the sense of like, someone being like an entertainer type and validating their self-worth on like others' perception of them. So like that kind of projection, I just really vibe with Julian. I need the attention, and he makes my heart hurt the most because I love him so much.
That's the problem, is I self-identify as
everyone's
Julius
in love with him
so deeply. Like I just self-identify as Julius, so now I'm like, what other?
This is for stream. Like me, Atlas, and I often talk about how we're the same person. I could not relate to Julius less. Like I love him very much. There are certain aspects of his story that like just are so the opposite of everything I would ever do that I'm like, no. Like I have so many like.
We can put that in the spreadsheet.
And, like the fact that you guys, I'm like, a difference.
We can put it in the spreadsheet. Yeah. Sometimes you make a spreadsheet of you and your friends and all of your similarities and differences.
Oops.
I feel connected to Simon, but I think that's just a I'm trans thing.
That's valid.
I honestly probably, if Maeve was sadder, if Maeve had more conflict, I'd be Maeve. And maybe we just haven't seen that yet, but I just feel like my personality is very close. She has very people pleaser energy, and I feel that. So like if I was a little bit, how much do we reveal about ourselves on stream? If I was a little bit happier, or a little bit less just like conscientious of myself at all times, I think I could be Maeve.
Maeve is very much a character I designed to, like, Landon starts from such a place of sadness, and like his story is going to be like kind of growing out of that and learning to unlearn his shit. Like he's started at the bottom, now he's here. Maeve is someone who I very much designed to be starting completely at a high point and like as she gets more into the story and witnesses more bullshit, like that's going to come into question in the opposite direction.
You just said, what if I made a character to destroy?
I mean, yeah, it's like there's stakes that come from starting like from tragedy, and there's stakes that come from having a lot to lose. And I think that the latter one is just like less explored in RPGs, just because like there usually needs to be like a motive for someone to want to adventure in a way that RPGs call into question, and a lot of times that can stem very easily from like interesting things in your backstory. But having a deeply normal backstory and then just being kind of thrust into it is like a different fun angle. Yeah.
It's something I do a lot. That's why I'm doing that face.
Ulysses.
I think it's interesting, and then I find it hard to play. Maeve
is the hardest to play for me by far.
Oh, I have a question, and maybe there isn't an answer, but I'd be interested if there is. When you were initially creating your characters, any of them, are there some concepts that you had floating around that you decided not to go with? Or like sort of like how did your character come to you? Because I know, like, speaking personally, when I was making Dante, initially she was so much meaner. She did heroin was one of the things.
I remember that we had that conversation.
At that conversation, she was like such a bitch. And I really love her and appreciate her, and I appreciate those things about her. But like, Dante has sort of become a lot less of that as I've figured out how she became what she is and what's happened to her. And then Reefer has kind of always been just bonkers.
Me and Louisa got to create Julius and Landon together, which was nice. But I did definitely come in with Julius. Me and Janine actually did a lot of character creation. Funnily enough, when I was first making Julius, well, at first, me and Louisa both thought we were doing a one-shot, was the other thing. Like, these were characters for a one-off. And I was like, okay, what if I did a little bit more of a carefree, like, character, and he was just kind of like... And I was like, oh, I'll be mortal, like, whatever. And then Janine actually was like, what if he was a blood bag for vampires? And I was just like, oh, we're allowed to oh, okay, never mind. And just completely flopped from like, maybe I'll be a boy next door to, oh, okay, I'm now a prostitute blood bag stripper character. And Julius just like kind of... Everything about Julius, as soon as that decision was kind of made, just kind of clicked. Like, it just, like, worked out really well. And then me and Louise were both like, we've never romanced each other in an RPG as, like, characters. We've always found, like, some sort of, like, buddy cop system. So we kept that in mind while we were playing that first session and ended it kind of in a tragic... But like possible,
because we thought it was a one shot, and it was this very tragic, romantic one shot. Rip to Mora, who was also playing with us. We had a different third player for this initial one shot. I love Mora. Much love.
Atalanta.
Yeah. So I initially like made Landon to kind of play off of specifically like Julius and Atalanta, who was a hunter. So I really had a pretty decent focus on his more huntery aspects at the beginning. Like, Landon has killed a lot of people, which is something that hasn't been as relevant, and I've kind of, like, because he wouldn't talk about it, and, like, it hasn't come up as much in story as necessarily I was expecting. Like, he is brutal, and, like, you've seen that somewhat, like, especially, in like the retcon scene where he like drilling his like hand, like hole into the hand of the whatever her name was, the Faith mom, and like he's dark, and like he made a deal with a demon, and like I feel like that's something that I've focused on a little bit less because I'm trying to soften him. Like his arc he's getting softened, but let's see. Oh, also like with Landon specifically, like I often try and do archetypes that like the people in the group I'm playing with haven't seen me play, and like I very successfully, like, I really enjoyed this character I was playing in a different, like, friend group's campaign where she was, like, very sullen and vengeful. I was, like, this wonderful Goliath lesbian named Kive who had a great time playing, and so Landon was partially inspired by, like, that former character of mine who I was like, oh, no one's ever seen me in this group play someone like Kive, partially inspired by the fact that I just finished reading all the Witcher novels, and partially inspired by, like, I was just trying to riff off of what Moran was doing. Miranda is just an old character of mine who is initially designed for urban fantasy. She was in a short-lived campaign. I fell in love with her so much, and I've always wanted to play her again since. And I've worked her some version of her that's heavily adapted into almost everything I've DM'd since. And Maeve was just me looking at Miranda and Landon and saying, what is of the triangle? What's the third point? What's the furthest I could get from both of these two? And so that was where Maeve stemmed from. I was like, she has to be happy. She has to be naive. Like, certain things where, like, I like to play very different archetypes if I'm playing multiple characters and letting people see multiple characters. And I just talked for a while. Someone else take it away.
I mean,
Simon was my first Urban Shadows character because I did this system for a class project because I'm a nerd. And Simon actually was originally going to be a Spectre, and not a Fae, which is very interesting because I was going for a Spectre character, and then we had a Spectre in the group, and I'm like, okay, cool, what else could I play? And I was like, all right, let's do a Fae character, because I think I also kind of snatched some Desi background onto Simon, but Simon is much darker background than Desi. Desi's a half fairy that I played in another campaign, but yes, that's mostly it. Because I have so many characters that you guys have changed the plot of so many of them.
Oh yeah. May I? What have you learned about your character?
I love you a lot, but you did ask the last 4 questions.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're completely fine. I just know that I don't want to, like, just go through all of your questions and then,
someone
like...
else should go then. It's just sort of, like, related. It's cool.
J9?
Janine, I know you have ones.
I have multiple from Rain.
Let's do it.
That's what Rain is
so
like.
These are more individual questions.
Ooh.
Did Julius... Yeah, they're targeted questions. Did Julius believe in supernatural before he was aware?
No, he had no idea right up until Louis, like, invited him to come work at Bloodsport. And he was just like...
I will go by my window.
Ooh. Great work,
Sorry.
team.
Sorry, I got distracted.
But no, right up until Louis asked him to come, like, into Bloodsport, he did not know until he had actually worked at Bloodsport for, like, a week, and then Louis was like, so besides dancing and being a waiter, actually, you're gonna need to do this also. And then he was just like, this is cool. Love that there's, like, supernatural things. And then finding out his boyfriend is half demon, that was a plus. Major thumbs up.
Which does lead to the next question of why did Landon take such a liking to Julius? There are other blood bags, so why him?
I think specifically it's that Julius took a liking to him in the sense of, like, so Landon, I don't know if we've talked about this so much, Landon, like, hunted vampires very actively and would go to Bloodsport about once a week for a pretty long time pre-campaign, and would just, like, check in and make sure that, like, no vampire was pulling any sketchy shit, the blood bags were being treated fairly, because if someone was fucking up, he was going to kill them. It was the excuse he needed to go and kill them. And, like, he would go and he would sit in his booth and he would brood in the back and he would watch. And, like, it's creepy and weird and he's a murderer. And, like, but Julius was, like, would approach him and talk to him and, like, wear down his shell. And, like, I think Landon has this, the way he's rationalized a lot of his actions to himself is that, like, he is protecting the innocent. and like to him, like Julius is in many ways like a person who like has seen all these horrible things and like has still remained human, and like he sold his soul. Like he appreciates Julius's humanity, and also the fact that like Julius took the time to try and interact with him. Yeah.
He was just really hot. Speaking of that, if anyone wants to read probably my favorite fan fiction of all time, which is Landon and Julius's first time meeting, which is based off of a real conversation me and Louisa had about it. Icarus Tyree wrote it, and it is breathtaking. And there's this whole part about them touching hands that is so tender that every time I think about it, my heart just kind of like, oh, it's so good. If you want the link to that, please don't hesitate to ask, because it's so fucking good.
Speaking of that, things I created, does Dante hire people directly to the station, and if so, what does she look for in someone?
Whoa!
Yeah!
Rain is out here! Damn!
That there are a lot of things that I know that they are things, and I just sort of don't think about them, and the web is one of the things that, like, I don't do a lot of work thinking on, because it's sort of cloudy, like, sort of what Dante does and did, because it's like she owns the radio station, she's a radio DJ, she has somehow a foot in like music production business. I think Dante sorry, I think Dante and like the web itself has kind of a reputation of like being able to like help people's music careers. People like would send tapes when that was a thing a lot of the time, and she's sort of always kind of in the back of her mind scoping when it comes to like acts and talent, which is like it's kind of weird because it's a radio station, so she's not a label, but I feel like her ins with labels is what really kind of gets her to help these people specifically, and that's why they owe her. And then like DJs and stuff, like who's good, who's like applying. And then like I was just thinking about this. I'm sorry, I was just thinking about this because I was like because she's been working at this same station since 1980, like 1980, like she's been there a long time. And Dante has been on air since like 87. So the kind of idea of like, how is she gonna pull this sort of ruse charade that nothing is going on here? I think that there's a significant degree of her, like the staff of the web that do know she's a vampire. I don't know how she found them.
What's interesting with radio as a medium is like a DJ can be on air for a while and no one will notice that they're not aging because they can't see the visuals.
That's the thing. I think it's like an unspoken kind of assumption that like Dante has probably been a couple people. It hasn't. It's just Dante. But they're like other DJs. She's not the only person who DJs the web, because if she was, that would be crazy.
Oh, great campaign moment was you saying Gina, and then just the reveal that your name wasn't Dante was powerful.
Yeah, I really love that. And we don't have it on tape because she actually introduced herself to Kathy Smalls as Gina, which was something that happened. Because
So what's really interesting is that you've introduced yourself as Gina to like more of the younger like characters that have been introduced.
I mean, I keep saying that Dante is her professional name, so when she's dealing with someone in a non sort of business kind of way, that's kind of what she goes with. Whereas if it's like sort of a not necessarily even a business relationship, but like more formal, that's kind of how that goes. So that's what's up. God, I love Dante naming. I love using names with Dante because I think it's so interesting. It's my favorite thing.
Speaking of names, every time Reefer introduces himself, my handle. Oh, that is, you have so many small character moments that are just like, that you never forget, first of all, and that are always like, I always notice because I'm just like, God, that is the tiniest thing, but
I fucking love Go for Dante.
Ah!
Go for Dante.
I love that so much.
Oh.
So good.
There's more questions.
How do you?
This is another Julius question. What are Julius's feelings for Simon currently? Thank you, Rain.
Julius, I'm trying to remember where we last left off, actually, with Julius kissing Landon is the last moment that Maddie said a couple things. First, Maddie said you should link all of the things written in the description of the YouTube channel, or of the YouTube videos if the creators will allow you. Also, Simon update, which I believe we're getting either this Tuesday or the Tuesday after.
Yeah.
Because we'll be back with A-Team soon. But Julius, very deeply cares for Simon. I do feel like there's like an uncorruptible bond between them now, just because Julius went through some really, really tough shit in the 2 weeks that he was kind of there alone. And part of Julius's character is that he feels debts very deeply, and it's something I appreciate about this system is it allows you to play with debts and like, does the person actually feel like they owe someone? Like, what is the debt system kind of based on? And Julius does feel like he owes people. Ike?
No, finish, and then I'll say my thing.
Oh, okay. Julius feels very deeply owing a debt means that like this person, like he owes this person to lay down his life for them, regardless of why they did the thing they did for him or like what the debt was. He's just like, oh, I owe you now. And so for Simon, he would lay down his life for Simon in a heartbeat. He would do anything for Simon except what Simon wants, which is a relationship, because he like found his person. And I think he said it really well, and I can't remember how I phrased it at the time, but it was just like, if he had been found like a week earlier, because when Julius ended up in the Feywilds, it was right after a reconciliation with Landon, and they talked through their shit, and Landon was like, I'm not trying to save you, I just really enjoy being around you. And that kind of changed their whole dynamic. So right now it's just freaking complicated, because he wants to be able to like give Simon what they want, which is marriage, and he wants to be able to do that for him or for them because that's what they want, and like he owes them a debt. So he's like, I owe this to you, but I can't break my own heart in that way, and I can't break Landon, so I can't give it to you, and that's the hard part. Ike, you had...
I mean, I have a question about debts that I think is interesting, but also we can just keep rolling.
No, I want to hear your questions. It wasn't that I didn't want to hear any of your other questions. I was just like, I didn't want you to like run out of questions and then be like, oh no, I've run out of questions.
I have so many over here.
Appreciate that. I was thinking about this in the shower. Which of your characters' debts interests you the most, and why? Because I'll start. Because Dante has a mutual debt with Jane Easton, a character that she has not interacted with in character. I just think the debts are so interesting, especially when they cross like the A-Team kind of B-Team spectrum. Like Reefer having, I think now Julius has a debt on Reefer at this point, and like I don't know if it'll ever come to fruition, but just sort of like the idea of that really tickles me.
Some of my characters have debts on each other, which is fun, because during character setup, I was like... Miranda owes Landon one, because he, like, talked her out of making a sketchy demon deal at some point. It's a thing that Janine and I established.
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking, and I was like, I have no idea. I know exactly what my answer is, and it is the Julius Lucio deal. That is the most interesting deal. For anyone that doesn't know, because this also happened pre-session or pre-campaign, Julius's original intimacy move was that he had to mark corruption every time he shared a moment of intimacy with a non-human character. And that's just the Aware's intimacy move, and it's bad. Because no one else has an intimacy move that works like that, where it's like you can only get bad things from it. Like, there was no positive to it. It was just you get corrupted, and at the rate that it was going between Julius and Landon, Julius was going to be retired within the next, like, and it's the only reason, I think Julius has like 2 marks of corruption. Only reason is because he shared intimacy with Landon. And so in canon, Julius made a deal with the same demon that Landon is allied with, so that he could not be corrupted by Landon, which is so much fun to think about, and so much it's so interesting, because originally it was just kind of like me and Janine going, okay, we can just kind of change it, but then giving it a backstory reason why it happened is really fun. The fact that I think in canon, Landon either just found out or still hasn't found out.
Found out the carnival.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that
is nervous about it, but knows to say anything would make him a hypocrite. And of course, Landon Pierce is not a hypocrite.
So that's mine, because God, that is such a... I'm very excited to see how Janine uses it against me.
I think that my answer is probably Landon and Simon have debts, which, kind of piggybacking off the Simon question, I think Landon and Simon's relationship is really interesting, just because they do have a lot of shared secrets that both of them know and Julius doesn't, that Landon uncovered during their time in the Feywild, and they kind of have this mutual understanding of some very interesting and deep things that they've never discussed, but the fact that they're not telling Julius that his love could have saved Simon from this, that they both silently decided that they were not going to tell Julius that. They have a lot of interesting unspoken agreements between them, and I think that it's a very interesting dynamic where Landon really likes Simon. Landon thinks they're a good person. Landon supports Landon supports Simon. Landon tried to get Simon out of the wedding out of partially guilt and partially because no one should have to marry someone they don't love. And I don't know. I think it's a very, very interesting dynamic that I'm interested to see come up more in play. We also have some questions from Maddie in the chat.
Yes, I was going to.
Yeehaw.
Oh, okay. For Julius and Landon, was this relationship the first time you guys felt truly loved? Wow. My answer to that is strong no. Not because of romantic love, but very important to me is the familial love between specifically Landon and Anthony. Before everything went wrong, Landon's whole motive for his revenge rampage is the fact that his brother died, and so he really loved his brother, and I think that was very much it's a very important familial love relationship.
For Julius, it is also no, but kind of he has felt love, and now he looks back on a lot of relationships and goes, I was not loved, I was admired and wanted, and those are different things, but he's still trying to figure out what those differences are and how to identify it, because to him it's scary to not be able to tell, does this person want me for what I can give them, or does this person want me because they want me? And so when we do our shameless plug, when we do our Monster Hearts one shot, which will probably be sometime next week or the week after, which we're very excited about, which is basically A-Team, but if A-Team was in high school, and you'll get more of this character specifically. But Cole, who is Julius's ex-boyfriend, who kind of jump-started his foray into everything that got him to here, Julius genuinely felt loved to the point where he like came out to his family when he knew he wouldn't be accepted and was like ready to move in and like spend the rest of his life with this person, and then this person just completely abandoned him and just like destroyed his heart and was just like, actually no, I'm moving on, like that, like no, and then just never heard from him again until he showed up at a radio station to dance. Jackass.
Her dance isn't very popular
on the radio.
I feel like we should explain that because it was pretty.
Was it?
Yeah,
It was pretty straight.
Because we zoomed it, because I've only played this game over Zoom.
But it was pretty free.
That was the very first session that I played in.
Yeah.
Session?
My favorite quote of all time, my favorite quote from any RPG I've ever played came from your first session with A-Team. You are so powerful.
I think it was my first one.
Oh my god.
Like, I think it was the second one.
Maybe it was the second. I think it might have been the second.
That's still...
Yes, because the first one, we like went to the diner.
Yes, and it ended with the jacket. It was our first jacket
Ended
scene.
with the jacket. The second one, we went to the web for the first time, and we met both of our exes there. And we had a great party time.
But yeah, Cole showed up at the web, and then... I don't even remember what led up to it, but basically, like, Benny was like, don't you want this dancer to be in your web? And Dante was just like, well, dance has never been that popular on the radio. And I laughed for, like, 20 minutes. I wrote it down on Julius's character sheet so that I would not forget it. It's somewhere in here.
What a highlight. Yeah.
Maddie has another question that kind of vaguely segues off of this, and is it Dante? Similar one. For Dante, has she ever felt truly loved? And if so, when was it? Was it Benny, or did that ruin their perception of love?
Yeah, so this is actually something we were talking about this morning. Yes and no. It's not something that's like crazy important to her in the way, and partly just because I didn't like establish it into play, so I feel untruthful giving her like a really tragic love past, but also because like it's important to her character that she's really hardened off, because being immortal and loving people isn't like a great mix. When it comes to Benny, that was like a pretty shitty marriage from the start. Like they kind of knew that like like it wasn't the worst, like it definitely the worst thing that happened was that he turned her into a vampire, but like she got married when she was 32, and at the time she was sort of like, this is kind of my last chance sort of deal. He's much younger than her, and like I'm like in my head, like they had really good sex, but like, and like maybe there was something there at the beginning, but like quickly they both kind of realized like, oh no, like this, but it was like a like one of those, you know, they just sort of, it was the 80s, they just sort of stayed together because they were married, and like maybe something would come of it, you know. Not they wanted to have kids, like but like not with Benny. It's complicated. And then like in between her getting divorced and now, I like definitely think she's had some relationships, but like they, by nature of her being a vampire, they haven't ended well. Like either the other person is like, you know, she's not aging, the rest of the world is, and it's really sad. So like she's like, oh yeah, this is sad, so I'm not gonna put my energy toward this and focus a lot more on her business and that kind of progress. Yeah. Yeehaw. So that's why it's exciting when she gets to start feeling like she cares about other people.
I love her. I love Dante. Do we want to jump back? Because Maddie has one more question currently in the chat, but do we want to jump back to different person's questions and then come back?
Okay.
Sure.
I love her so much.
I just tried to readjust my glasses.
I can't express love for her in character, so I must do it out of character frequently and as much possible.
I can do both.
You could express love for her in character.
You could.
Hate sex.
This is another Rain question. What pet peeves of your characters?
Like things that they don't like? Or things that we don't like about them?
We'd like to answer the question.
I don't know how. Julius's biggest pet peeve, not my pet peeve about Julius, but Julius's biggest pet peeve is I think it's white knights, and like the idea, like he's definitely had multiple people come in and be like, I can save you from this, but not in the way, like not from like the vampires, like it's just like normal people who would like come in. No, like normal people who go into a strip club and they're like, you don't have to do this anymore, and Julius is like, this is the fun part of my job. Like, why? Like, leave me alone. I'm vibing. Like, because he genuinely, and that's like a very important part of his character to me, is that he genuinely enjoys being a stripper. And like, regardless of where his relationship ends up with Landon, like if Landon ever asked him to stop doing that part of his job, I think they'd have a problem, but I don't think he would. But like, I think that's definitely something that gets on Julius's last nerve, is people coming into Bloodsport who are just mortals, who are just like, hey baby, let me take you away from this. I can save you. You don't have to do this anymore. And him just being like, I literally will kill you with the boots that I'm wearing.
I think a lot of I Louisa Blatt don't have any pet peeves. I have a lot of fears. I have a lot of shit, but pet peeves, no. Like, there's no like little actions people can take that will like specifically bother me. So I think that like that's kind of the sitch for Landon and Maeve. Miranda, her whole philosophy is basically that like people are inherently bad. Her backstory is so incredibly long and complicated because she's such an old character of mine. I have like 17 pages on her like psyche and her history that I don't expect to ever be relevant, but are always like, I know who this character so well, but it's always constantly impacting how I play her and what's like on the back of my mind. And she is annoyed by everything. She won't voice that because she, like, to some degree wants to manipulate people, and when you want to manipulate people, you don't start by, like, openly complaining about their actions, but you can still be a bitch, but in different ways. It's the whole thing. But basically, like, I don't think any of my characters have specific pet peeves, except for Miranda, and her pet peeve is everything.
You're valid.
Yes.
I've gotten a correction from Rain. It is, what are your pet peeves about your characters?
Oh, okay, that makes more sense.
I just got pet peeve of your characters, like, what?
No, yeah.
I could say mine, I don't know.
No, please do, because we already started, and I do want to hear it.
My favorite one that I love very much, I don't know if it counts as a pet peeve, but just sort of Dante's relationship with kind of the entire supernatural world being like her pet peeve is magic. She's like, this is bullshit. Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm just trying to chill. And the fact that like her being a vampire naturally lumps her in with all that kind of stuff is like really annoying to her. Like, God, she's like, I'm just trying to do my job. I'm just doing everything, and then
wizards, man.
I'm fucked in with these wizards and this prophecy shit, and like, I didn't sign up for this. Fuck off. And then Reef's is like, Reefer's really complicated. It's like, honestly, just when people lie, Reefer genuinely does not understand why they would. Like, Reefer doesn't tell the truth all the time, but Reefer does not understand why people tell outright lies.
Pet peeves about my character, super easy. Landon, while playing him, I think of things I would like to say. He will not say them.
Please write these things down and send them to me. I need to know.
Yeah, no, I know in the back of my head, but like there are times where like Landon is just sullen and quiet and will not make comments and will not say what is on his mind. He will not voice things, and that is very frustrating as a player for me, but that's how he is as a character. Also, pet peeves about Maeve. Maeve, I just she doesn't shut up, and I feel bad about that sometimes. But
I was about to say my biggest pet peeve about Julius is that like everyone's like, let's discuss this important thing, and Julius is like, but no one's talking about me.
And then Miranda's just like a bitch, but I don't have any specific pet peeves about her. It's more like she derails things in specific ways that are funky. But yeah, no, the main one I have is with Landon as a player. I get frustrated because he will not say whatever fun quip I've just come up with.
And like this is real quick. It's not a pet peeve. I have the exact opposite problem with Dante, where I'm like, I made a character that's very sort of verbally snappy, and then I am not able to do that with the same sort of velocity that I want for her. And like that's less of a pet peeve about her and more of like I feel like I'm not serving her.
It, bro, but...
Thank you. You'll think that until we have to try to argue in character, and you'll be like giving me amazing lines, and I'll be like.
My biggest pet peeve about Julius is just that he doesn't shut the fuck up, and sometimes we're rewatching it, and I'm like, Atlas, shut up. Regardless of whether or not Julius is being in character about it, sometimes I'm just like, okay, I get it. You want to be in character, and you want to share your in-character thoughts, but this is too much, and you need to let other people have their moments. And then with O, I let his anger overtake me sometimes, where he'll be trying to get something out of someone and he'll like hit them and then they won't do what he wants, and I feel myself getting frustrated. And so that's more of a pet peeve of mine, just like about O, but about myself, because I'm like, I can recognize that it's not affecting me and it shouldn't be affecting me physically, but then I get actually frustrated. And the big difference between me and O is when I get frustrated, I want to cry. And I'm just like, you can't just start crying on this stream right now because he punched somebody and they were like sassy to him. That's not valid of you. But that's just all my bullshit.
You got any, Janine?
I think just in general, there's things that I want. Yes, but I'm not gonna share them because they're spoilers.
Okay.
That's the thing.
You're valid.
What kind of music do your characters listen to? Check out our Spotify.
Let me plug all our playlists. Can I send links in the Twitch chat?
Oh, I'll send links to all of mine. Beware, Miranda's is 10 hours.
That one's a fun one that I jam out to sometimes.
It's very specific, and since y'all don't really know her backstory at this point, you'll be listening to it, and you'll be like, what the fuck is this random country song about someone stealing your child? What is happening? So yes, but I will share those.
I'm sending mine over right now.
My answer is easy as fuck. Disco. It applies to both.
Oh, that's another link I will send. I'll send the link to the scene from Pride.
Yeah. I could go more into the music thing because one of my characters is music based.
Oh, hell yeah. Do it.
But I mean, it's just like, I think.
Oh, it's pink. Ah! Ah!
Sorry, I thought someone was playing a video.
Thank you, Tristan. Sorry about that. I exist in a human home.
No, I just think it's kind of neat that I made a character whose whole thing is like the web is about. I mean, none of you would heard me say this because I say it to myself all the time, but it's like tomorrow's biggest hits today is the tagline for her show, I think. So she's like on this cutting edge, but also she's incredibly like nostalgic for the 70s and the 80s, and like that's evident in the way she dresses and the music she listens to. A lot of good R&B. I love her very much. She listens to some sex tunes. Her playlist fucks. And then Reefer listens to whatever's on the radio when they're trucking. So sometimes it's the web. And sometimes it's really shitty country music. But Reefer's playlist is a lot of like weirdo, Lemon Demon, They Might Be Giantsy kind of stuff. Because I like that shit and it gets me in the right headspace to play weirdo. I'm weird. I'm a weirdo.
There was such a powerful
I
moment
listened
today.
to
No, continue, sorry.
Country and Angry Go Rock. Maeve listens to cute indie, a lot of ukulele covers, because that's the kind of gal she is.
We love Jodie in this house.
And Landon listens to a lot of, like, rock.
Yeah, he does.
Each of my characters is attributed to a different member of the emo trinity. Like, just all of my OCs in general have, like, their band. And Julius is Panic at the Disco, so he has a lot of Panic. He has a lot of, like, he has two kinds of songs about being betrayed or left behind, and then songs about being too goddamn sexy for your own goddamn self. And that's it. That's the range of human emotion that Julius encompasses. And then O is Fallout Boy. No. Is O MyChem or Fallout Boy?
You said MCR earlier.
MCR. Then he's MCR, and I'm thinking of... Who did I just make that was... I have another character that was just born that is Fallout Boy. But yes, he's MCR because ghosts. Orion's playlist is more funny because I feel like I play O as like a haha funny until he's not, and that's kind of how his playlist is, where it's like, oh, it's the Ghostbusters theme, and then it's like it's something by Air Traffic Controller, probably. All of my characters are into Air Traffic Controller because I'm into Air Traffic Controller. But also us as a group had a very fun moment earlier where all three Ike, Louisa, Atlas were listening to different
Landon-related playlists that Louisa has. Because Louisa has Landon's playlist, and there's
I
also
have one for Landon and Julius, and one for Landon and Dante.
And I was listening to Landon and Julius, and you were listening to Landon and Dante.
And
So
I was
we were
listening to
really...
Landon.
It was...
it fucks. Sorry, I had just that part of Monster stuck in my head where it's like, and I'm like, fuck, yes, over this shit.
Is Monster also on the Lulius playlist?
I think it's a different song called Monster. Maybe.
We have a Dodie song. Oh no, we have Human. Oh, that is so cool.
Human and Monster?
We have Human on ours, and then you two have Monster on yours. Oh, you are so smart.
I'm so good at playlists.
That playlist makes me lose my shit every time.
Important
so
question. What does Simon listen to?
Let me check Simon's playlist.
Why did I bring up Simon? Simon's playlist breaks my heart every single time I listen to it. Because half of the songs are just about Julius, and I'm just like...
Yeah, yours, it's a mix of, like, some of them are, like, very much, like, I've got this pump-up songs that they have, and it's also, like, I lost lots of shit, especially...
Get out of my face, you aniswee-looking weirdo! I don't think you're gonna understand that insult, but just trust me, it's very offensive.
Feel attacked.
I remember when he came downstairs and called us all virgin.
I mean, he's not wrong.
But
Well, I mean, sorry. I forget.
How much are we sharing on stream?
What was I gonna say? Oh, just that Dante has a lot of really great sort of angry woman breakup songs on her playlist that are like, shit, no, I'm not gonna.
If the world was ending, you'd come over, right? You'd come over and you'd stay the night. Tell you to put that on their playlist. Oh.
Most emo playlist that I have for characters is Rangers.
Oh! Love Ranger!
Rangers is the most Timo. And then the sweetest is probably, it's either Kathy or Isabel, which is very similar to each other.
Very similar. You can't tell the difference between Kathy and Isabel.
Oh god, I'm so proud of that video.
I'm proud of that joke.
He just walked out and held a bag of plastic bags and punched it and then walked back into his room.
Oh. What happened?
I'm being threatened.
Yikes.
Hi.
Thanks.
Hi.
Fun Reefer question. Does Reefer know what a reef is?
What?
Does Reefer know what a reef is?
Yeah.
What a reef is? Like a coral reef? Here's the thing.
What a reefer is.
Reefer. Here's the fun reefer facts about Reefer.
A reef.
In case you didn't know, and yes, I have to refer to them as Reef whenever I post about them because I don't want to just make posts that are like, I love Reefer. So I refer to them as Reef a lot. But the fun Reefer facts is the Reefer backstory is that Reefer spent like 10 years as a long haul trucker. And that is why Reefer always says my handle is Reefer, and Reefer is, I was looking up Reefer because I was like, that's the name. I know it's weed. I thought it was funny if I named my character after weed. I looked it up, and reefer is slang for a refrigerated truck. So, like, you drive a reefer. So I just think it's fun. Reefer is, like, Reefer knows that reefer means weed also, but, like, I think Reefer probably also thinks it's kind of funny. Like, it's not one of those, like, oh, what are you talking about? Why are you laughing at my name? But, like, Reefer is a grown-up. Reefer knows that words can be used in different ways.
That's my fave first-time character meeting. Oh, and Reefer introducing
Reefer's meeting is great.
I know, Reefer introducing themselves and just laughing for a while and no one responding.
And then going, you're so cool.
Yeah. Oh, and then it was Miranda just going, you change your opinion on people awfully quick. Have I memorized significant portions of our sessions? Possibly. Who's to say?
I haven't rewatched except for when y'all said, like, oh, I'm rewatching, and I've come join y'all, so...
Listen. I think you could rock nothing. I think you should rock nothing. I think you should rock. I'm going to go get changed.
Yeah. But yes. Reefer's not Reefer's real name. Reefer has a real name. Who knows? Someday you'll know it. Maybe you won't. Who knows? Who cares? I care. I have it. And I did feel kind of like I got... Sorry, you're talking. Jesus Christ.
No, I'm... Just before we start the next question, I have questions from chat that I'm going to say, so I'm just holding, but you keep talking.
Well, I was going to say that I got kind of caught flat-footed when it came to making up my Fae name, because I was like, okay, here's my Fae name, and it's not like a human word name. Like the first one is, it's spelled different, and the second one is just a bunch of letters. And then Janine was like, this is Staluna, Elliot, Callista, Magnus, Lightning Bolt. Like, this is Briar Lark. And I'm like, oh, they have regular names or like woodsy names and not.
Well, it's also the fact that you have different. You were meeting the royal family of a Fae court.
This is true. Reefer is incredibly feral, and that's a very important part of their backstory. Like, communally raised in the middle of the woods, feral Reefer. I love them so much.
Me in love with Reefer, yes. Maddie asked, do your characters have plans for the next month or year? Basically, how far in the future do they expect to live and plan to get to?
Ooh.
I have an answer if people need time to think. Because Julius doesn't think he's getting out of this alive and is very much like, if any of the three, like, because just statistically, of the three of them, who's easiest to fucking kill? I do believe we were just in battle where Julius took 3 or 4 harm and y'all took none. like Julius is like completely aware that the chances of this ending well for him is almost zero. Plus, if it comes down to choosing between Dante or Landon or Julius, Julius will make that choice.
In a similar vein, Landon very much. It's like completely. One of the times, like an example of the time, like I was thinking stuff to say that Landon just would not have said was when you were saying like the "Don't die on me," like I'd hate you forever. Like Landon fully intends to, if it comes down to it, like die. And the like his reasoning is like one, like Julius is great. Two, Julius is human. And to Landon, that makes Julius inherently more like worthwhile. And like in an ideal world, if it's the three of them, Landon wants Dante to sacrifice herself. But if that's not happening, he will do it before like he lets Julius do it. And an interesting conversation that I was thinking might happen eventually is like him telling Dante, like, if it's between the two of us, you make sure he lives. And like that's a thing that could come up.
My stomach just dropped to the fucking ground. Julius will literally do anything to make sure that Landon and Dante survive because he feels like going back to the other part of the question is he has no plans. Like when you're a blood bag, you have a specific life expectancy and it's not long. And like Julius is currently the longest working blood bag at Bloodsport. He knows like in his mind his time, like his time has come and gone. He has no other skills, he has no other places to go. And like now Landon is offering him a place, but he's like, if Landon dies in this, there goes my plan. Like that's if Dante or Landon leave, like, or die, that's it. Though that was my future. That was my like whole situation, was just getting out and then starting a life with people that genuinely care about me. And so to Julius, he's like, either I'm going to die in the next couple of months as a blood bag, which might change. In his mind, it hasn't changed, but might actually physically change because of the like. But I still don't. Because of the union, but I still don't think. I feel like you take on a certain amount of risk when you are signing up to be a blood bag, and part of that is that the human body isn't meant to be drained every couple of weeks. Like, it's just not how it works. So he's like, either I'm dying in a couple months to some vampire, or I'm dying now as a final stand to the people that I think have futures and have things ahead of them, such as a wonderfully popular radio station or being a lawyer and like getting revenge for my brother's death. Like, Julius has no future. So he's just like, I don't see. And part of his arc is figuring out how to like live for himself and finding like new places to be and what to do. But currently he would do anything to make sure that y'all stay alive. And then O is just living for his siblings once all of his living for his siblings and to kill he wants Deputy Smalls dead so bad.
That's fair.
Landon very much is like, I'm a contracts lawyer, and in death I would be like, I'm a demon, it's fine. Like that's his stance. He's like, I live a boring life otherwise apart from my revenge, and I don't even know if I want this at this point, and it should be me. Yeah, so that's fun. Maeve is a normal human, has a normal human level plans. She just like is living with her friend in an apartment. She like is trying to get some money. She thinks about the future, tries to produce YouTube shit, live in her life.
Louisa, that was the wackest sentence you ever said, which was has a normal human amount of plans.
Like she's not like she doesn't like. Landon has very few future plans. Miranda has an incredibly high number of plans, which we'll get to in a second, and Maeve is in the middle. Like, she's vibing. She thinks she'll make it through this, and doesn't have any great plans of self-sacrifice, is trying to make rent. Like, that's the kind of vibe. Miranda has planned every action she will ever take. homegirl overthinks to a T. Just crafty son of a bitch. Fully expects not only to live, but to accumulate an incredible amount of power. Wildly ambitious. Yeah.
What about Dante and
Yeah, what's
Reefer?
up with Dante? Tell me all about Dante, please.
I mean, okay, so like a legitimate conflict that Icarus had during one of our sessions, I think it was after the club attack, was like I was like, I don't know that Dante would stay in New Paxton. I think she might just leave. But then I was like, no, she wants to, like, she's pretty vengeful and like wants to make somebody pay because this is bullshit. Like, I don't know what will happen to her because I can see her going in a lot of different ways based on how the story goes, and I think there are a lot of really interesting things that could happen. She doesn't plan to die, and she, like, or at least if she dies, it's not going to be on someone else's terms. No one's going to kill her, is her thing. And she's always focused on the radio, the expansion, like trying to make sure that like her business is A, as good as possible, and B, just keeps growing. So she has a really strong self-preservation instinct, and would have been like very likely to just sort of get out of Dodge as soon as things got hot, except now there are some pesky things keeping her, like emotions and friends. Reefer's just vibing. Reefer's like drive is a curiosity and a delight for the human. So Reefer just really enjoys their time and is really just letting adventure come to them in all the different ways, good and bad. It does. I love Reefer.
I want Reefer and
Reefer's definitely less
Landon to have a conversation.
in a lot of different ways, but like
Reefer and Landon to have a
I'm not
conversation about
motivated at all.
humanity.
What did you say, Atlas?
Reefer and Landon having a conversation about humanity.
I feel like Reaper and Landon have a lot to talk about, just because like contracts are such an interesting and important part of both of their characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's very interesting is the difference of A team and B team when it comes to debts. Just because y'all B team people, maybe not Maeve, but definitely Reefer and O thrive off of debts for some reason, or it was just this past session that O went, I want the debt now.
For some reason, it's literally in the role description of the Fae to just be obsessed with like having debts and stuff, and like all of my moves are debt related. All of my power comes from having debts on people. Like Reefer, I really love the contrast of Reefer being kind of like this really whack, sort of offbeat, like just sort of doing their thing, but also like incredibly kind of like sneaky, like never dishonest, but
O is just fueled by anger and is therefore fueled by like not being told what to do. And so I think very specifically what comes to mind in regards to debts is O was recognizing the need for the sale to be put back, but didn't want to do it on anyone's terms but his own, and refused to do it on anyone's terms by his own. And his like fatal flaw is, no one's gonna make me do something I don't want to do, even if it kills just about everyone else around me. And I'm going to prove to everyone that I don't need anyone or anything by letting the world burn if I don't get to go out on my own terms. And there's like exceptions to that rule, like if Ranger and Annie, and I feel like Annie, an important part of O and Annie's relationship was that O, and like you can see it in who O owes debts to, which I believe at the very beginning was just Annie. It was like 2 to Annie and like maybe 1 to Ranger, but mostly it was Annie, because Annie was who he would listen to and who he trusted to not make him feel stupid. And I think that's an important part also, is O doesn't want to be made to feel less than someone else. And I think a lot of our villains, that's why I really like O interacting with people like Luna and that stuff, because it's just their very nature is to think that they're better than the other characters, and O hates that. Speaking of pet peeves of our characters, O hates being made to feel small so goddamn bad, and he will burn your house to the ground before he lets you disrespect him like that. God, I love O. Maddie had a really interesting question, which is, if your character met you in real life, what do you think they would think of you?
Very different answers for every character.
I think Reefer would find me interesting. Vibe.
Fascinating.
But also just because since like personality, but Dante's a tough nut to crack. I don't want to let her down. I feel like I would. She'd appreciate my love for disco. We could have a good time together. She might eat me.
I'd let Dante eat me. Oh my god. Not to be Julius, but
I think Landon would think I reminded him of a very specific younger version of himself in an interesting way. Because, like, I give chunks of me to all my characters, and I think he would recognize certain aspects of himself in me. But I don't think we would get along particularly well. Like, neither of us would talk. No one would initiate that conversation, and it wouldn't go well. Maeve and I would vibe well. Like, Maeve could be in any film class at Smith College, and
yeah.
I feel like I know Maeve, and we're chill. We're fine. We vibe. Here's the thing about Miranda. Miranda would try and use me for some end. That's how she'd use all people. But, like, I like to think she'd respect me, because I'm a crafty son of a bitch. Yeah.
Me and Julius would either be best friends or we would absolutely hate each other. And there's a very fine line there where we are both people who thrive off the attention of others, and either we would allow that to mesh and we would be like a comedic duo, which is, I feel like, kind of what me and Ike do sometimes, and we recognize this. Sometimes we start competing and that is a bad time. But when me and Ike are just acting on with each other, God, we command a room.
I love you so much.
I love you too. Us going to get our piercings together is one of the boldest moves we ever made, and I still think of it as one of my favorite moments of this year. Like,
it was very good.
It slapped so hard. But me and Julius would be either, I think it depends on how we met. If we met in a situation where we were trying to one-up each other, like if we met in just like a social situation where we were being introduced. But if we met in a situation where we were allowed to be more relaxed, we would both absolutely fall in love with each other and just be like, you're fucked up, I'm fucked up, we're fucked up. Aw, cute. And then me and O, I think we would get along swimmingly, because I feel like O would do the things that I'm not willing to do, and would get in the fights that I want to start but refuse to. But is also, like, genuinely funny, and, like, when he's not after a, like, vengeance, is just kind of, like, a relaxed, like, trans guy, and, like, he represents to me the character that could most just be at Hampshire that I would meet, but, like, that I could go to a protest with. Don't you just want to be friends with people you just feel like you can go to a protest with? Like, he'd throw a brick through a window when I was being too chicken to do it, and then I'd follow suit. And that's something I appreciate about O. What about you, J9? You and Kathy would murder the world together.
Me and Kathy would go crazy, and the amount of anxiety that you would put in one room. That is terrifying. I don't think I would interact with Luna at all. And
Would she interact with you, though?
if she were, I don't. So that's such a weird thing to think about. If Luna had interacted with me, I think she would be kind, but wouldn't think of me as important.
Man, throw back to the first time that I met Luna in this game, because I think about it a lot. Luna baby.
Hate Luna.
Simon and I might be friends. Gonna be honest here, depending on when I met Simon.
Me and Simon would fall in love. We would fall desperately in love.
Simon would fall in love with me. I wouldn't love them back.
I love Julius.
Yikes!
Not on purpose, it just happens.
I'd fall hopelessly in love with both Simon and Landon, which is my current conundrum. God, I want a piggyback ride.
I work with any of these characters.
I want a piggyback ride from Landon so goddamn bad, and I will never forgive you, Louisa Blatt, for giving me a character that cannot lift me and put him... He can't put me on his shoulders because he's not real.
God, I do want him to protect me. Fuck.
Do I want him to take my vampire friend by her collar and push her into the wall because she went too hard and drank all my blood? Absolutely. I want nothing more. You don't get to touch him. I think about that every day.
Characters that we've dating: Isabel, Griffin, Simon.
I did Griffin. Griffin of the characters he's square enough for me to handle.
He's so square. I love him so much.
He's square enough for me to handle.
I fucking love Griffin. He's great.
Oh, I adore Griffin so much. Me being able
I
to
have crushes on everyone, but only Griffin would I date because.
Oh, I would...
Maddie asked me.
I'd want to be Dante's sugar baby.
Oh, I mean, I'd be in love with Dante, but she's.
Oh, Dante scares me so much.
Dante would scare me so bad, but she would have to ask once. She'd be like, do you want to go make out? And I'd just be like... I just threw my paintbrush.
Yeah, I am really in love with her. I think the only thing that's like stopping me from saying that out loud is just like she's old as hell.
Oh yeah, I mean yeah.
And like the power dynamic is very strange. But if I was also a vampire, or anything, I feel like we'd be a very interesting power couple.
Okay, Janine, I'm so sorry that I interrupted you.
No, Maddie asked me why New Paxton is a circle, or like in that realm. I mostly did it because with Urban Shadows, a big thing about it is that you have to show the political differences of the factions, and I don't like politics at all. So I was like, what is the closest thing I could do to show that? And that was having the different districts. And I was, oh my gosh.
Sorry, my box is full of crayons now, and I can't put any more in.
Magnificent, though.
I guess I have to put these somewhere else and get a new box.
But yeah, that was creating it. I was also basing it off of a little bit of the Hunger Games, when it's like how Panem is set up and how it's like out more like less important, and that's how I built it. And I thought just having a circle was fun, and showing that like in the center of it all, it also like incorporates that in the center of it all, it's magic, and it's the wild faction that is the center of it, and is basically powering the city, which is a fun little I think that's the one thing I did without any character player input was making that structure of the city. But yeah,
We used to have a really cool map.
it is gone. I'm very sad about it. I do have pictures of it, I believe, somewhere.
Welcome to Index.
Welcome to the town of Index.
There's
There's a face.
yeah.
There's a face. There's a face.
Do you still have more questions?
I do. Do you guys want them?
Hit us.
Yeah, I have like
Okay.
2 more over here, but I would like to.
I have one more from Maddie also.
Here's one that I had started saying, but I'll finish saying it now. And it's a question through playing. What have you learned about your character that you didn't know before? So, like, what have you learned through play that interests you about your character?
Not to go back to the Landon Dante conversation, but I'm going back to the Landon Dante conversation.
Do it.
I had not thought through like the specific thing where like he would look in the mirror and like deal with that. Like that was all complete improv. I had not thought about that before, and basically like his struggle with self-worth is something that I discovered through play. Goodness, I'm sure there's other things.
It's just a question you need to, like...
Yeah, I feel like there are.
I don't know. I think you guys, because you guys have been here since the start, I think I've become more confident just as an MC, and my characters have had less anxiety going through, because lots of my characters started with anxiety because I was very nervous going into this campaign a lot. That's why Kathy and Isabel are very anxious, but like progressively I've gotten more confident in what I was doing, so I'm proud of myself in that.
Bro, your Luna's fucking ruthless.
Luna scares me. Luna reminds me of that one John Mulaney bit that's like, middle schoolers will find your greatest fears, but in an accurate way.
That's the thing.
That man has feminine hips.
That's the thing. Just like when she was like, "You're useless to your entire party at the wedding," and Julius was just like, "I mean, I know, but hey." And then his boyfriend left. Yeah, that was great.
Luna roasting me about my career literally the first time I met her.
Luna is the scariest character I have ever played personally, because it is the most not me, but it's the sassy moments that I like. This is Luna.
Okay, you're back.
Yeah.
Favorite moment from thing that I think about all of the time is because I make jokes about poor Louisa all the goddamn time, where I'm just like, remember that time Landon abandoned me? But Julius trying to cause a distraction for Landon to sneak away by going ow really loud. He did take a harm, so he did actually get hurt, but him just being like ow, and Landon immediately stopping what he's doing, turning around and being like, excuse me, what's going on here? Pardon me, but what is this? Stop it. Was the sexiest thing that has happened in campaign so far, on Landon's part, which was just him being like, I'm solving a mystery. Julius.
The only way he can rationalize his behaviors is if he's doing what he deems the most good at the time, and so he wants to solve the mystery to help everyone out and stop this horrible wedding and save people's lives. But oh no, Julius is in danger. Now we must fix that.
God, I love him.
What about for Dante? Because I know that you've, especially just with our group chat and the amount of times you've, Icarus Diary have said stuff about Dante that you just kind of realized. Wait, what?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. It just kind of comes to me like, I'll be like, oh, of course this is true about her. I think when I made her, I wasn't expecting the kind of softness that we've grown to know and love that comes out sometimes. I wasn't expecting, like, there's a weird level of cowardice that Dante has that I didn't know was there, but for sure is, which is like disguised as this like self-preservation thing, but it's also like, oh, she's scared. But then just like there's a million things that I learn about her just by like thinking like about just like I just think about a part of her life and start putting the Tetris pieces together and filling in the gaps and things like that. Yeah, I don't know if you were talking about anything specific that you wanted me to talk about.
I love Dante.
I know. I think it's every time I hear something different about your characters, just make me so happy. Still, personal favorite was when me and Ike were first doing the Dante creation, and Ike said, "Yeah, Dante has an ex-husband, but he's not important." And immediately in the next session, I go, "So you hear the name Benny?"
I also go like, he's not that important, and then I'm like, Janine, do you want me to tell you what I know about him? Here's everything I know about him. Here's his mom. Here's his I don't know his parents super well. I do know his parents like in my head a little bit. Like I don't know them personally, but I know about Dante's relationship with them because there's like a pretty good relationship with his family, and that's like I have definitely dropped Spanish phrases as Dante sometimes because she wouldn't have grown up speaking Spanish, but she would have learned it like with Benny's family, and like his mom fucking loved her because she's great. So it's really sad that her son was such a shithead. I know so much about them. I just...
Ike, I love you so goddamn much. Ike and Atlas Solidarity is when Janine just was like, what if your exes were here? Together?
I didn't write in any exes. What? Ooh, not true.
No, but what did I use instead? I used your brother. I used your brother in that
true.
sense.
Yeah, Anthony was actually dead as far as I was aware.
No, yeah, I didn't, honestly, like, it's sort of half of a, like, through playing, learning this thing about Benny specifically, just, like, when I originally wrote him, I was like, he's, like, Dante kind of pities him, he doesn't really, he, like, sometimes shows up and asks for her help, so, like, she's not, like, actively hating him, but then when he shows up and starts making her life miserable, like, and, like, actively, what's the word with Luna, like, and she's like, oh, this is your fault, you're the reason that they're trying to kill me, okay, cool, this is the worst. But yeah,
God, I love Benny.
So those are things that I've learned.
Sometimes
and then
people will send
just like, oh,
questions to the group chat, like just this morning, like Atlas was like, what is your character's relationship like with their sexuality? And like I had to sit there and I was like, I haven't thought about this before, but this is the answer definitively.
Yeah.
So like we like prompt each other to answer these questions. And
I don't want to say it out loud because it's not canon, but the idea that I had earlier today about one of Dante's exes was the sexiest thing I've ever come up with.
It was, you're right.
But,
God, I love your guys' characters so goddamn much.
Another Rain question is, how far ahead do I have events planned and settings? Rain, TVH. Ha ha ha.
Sometimes you can see Janine, like, will say something, and you can see Janine go, and, like, write it down and be like, okay.
We love
sure
introducing a whole ass prophecy before actually knowing what the hell the prophecy meant. And being like,
it's a great. I respect that move. So
no, I do too. It's just brilliant because we sat down. Janine introduced the prophecy to us the first time, and we literally all were like, what, like, for at least a little bit went, what does this mean? Could this be this? Does this mean this? Yeah, and Janine was literally sitting there.
And I was like, this is, like, this could be anything. Like, this is different meanings that this word has.
And then later we find out that Janine was sitting there just like, I have no fucking idea what it means. Like, maybe it, like, and we were just giving them ideas about what it could possibly mean. Oh.
DM pro tip. Plan nothing, steal from your players. I do it all the time.
I mean, how do you think I ran literally anything?
Yeah, that was yeah. I mean, I had decent plans of the prophecy, but I also made sure to like make it as open as I could, just because I don't know what the fuck you guys think sometimes. All three of you have the weirdest minds in the world, but it is so much fun just, like taking what you guys give me and, like,
B team going to the siren song, and then us just being like, oh no, he went underwater with the sirens. The siren song's gonna affect him. And Janine just being like, fuck, I guess the siren song affects him. Like,
I love the siren scene, mostly just because I really love when I can do evil Reefer. Not evil Reefer, but Reefer just showing their true colors.
Fun question building off of that. I know I asked another D&D related question earlier, but like, if y'all's characters had D&D alignments, like, what would they be? Because I think it's an interesting question. Although the D&D alignment system is very flawed, and I have a lot of opinions on that, and it's a fun, interesting way of codifying things.
A fun fact about me is that I love Louisa Blatt. And sometimes she just says things, and I just go, oh my god, I love Louisa Blatt. Specifically whenever she introduces a topic that I can ask her to spiral into later. Like, whenever she's like, I have a lot of opinions about this thing, I'm like, I'm so excited to ask you your opinions on this thing. I feel like we've mentioned this. I think Julius is chaotic good, and I think O is chaotic neutral.
Landon is lawful neutral. Because even though he breaks the law, he has his own internal set of laws that he follows to a T, and he's a lawyer. And Maeve is chaotic good, good without regards for rules. And Miranda is lawful evil, once again, a very strict set of internal moral compass that's very weird and very particular, but definitely based on self-exchange.
Yeah, Reefer is lawful evil, which sounds bonkers, because Reefer as a character is very chaotic, but just like the Fae is all about the law thing, and I think it's just always been that Reefer is functioning under a very specific set of like things. It's just not the conventional human set. And then Dante's kind of true neutral. I don't know. I'm kind of true neutral.
Same.
I'm obsessed with you. Maddie
and lawful chaos
had a great question, which is, if your characters had to wear a mask to conceal themselves, what would the mask look like?
Easy answer from Miranda, because her character in the Corners Get Paid was masked the whole time. Like a fun Janine.
I love you.
Fun, like, white circular full face mask with like mostly like flat features, but like carved like geometric patterns on this side. Yes. Fun and drama. Landon, something rock, like demon-y based, you know? Like, I think he would wear that ironically, and it would have some sort of weird deep meaning to him, and it would be a lot of like, oh, this is the mask, some sort of deep bullshit that he would come up with. And maybe if we wear something she thinks is funny, like she'd wear like a Kermit mask.
I can
Julius
see
would...
Reef in like one of those Daft Punk heads.
Yes!
Yes!
You were gonna say something.
No, please continue.
Well, no, that was it. I like the idea of like the different screens. Like technically it would be something like more naturey, but fuck it, it's like a gold Daft Punk head. Because fuck you.
Julius would have just a face mask, like the kind we're all wearing, but embroidered into it would be like a set of vampire teeth, with like blood like hanging off one of the fangs, that's like glittery, and it would obviously match his outfit, because I don't know if you've noticed, but Atlas, oh my god, I spend so much time thinking about Julius's outfits for no reason. Sometimes I think about what outfit he's just wearing. I'll just literally sit and just consider what he's wearing at any given moment in time. What?
Redo on Landon's. He's wearing like a classic like black dashing anti-hero mask. You know those?
Like a Zorro mask?
Like a Zorro mask or like a Dread Pirate Roberts type thing.
Oh, yes.
Like a classic. That's the look.
I don't know why, but when you said redo on Landon, my very first thought was Phantom of the Opera mask.
I've been thinking about Phantom.
Was that you were gonna say he was gonna have a Phantom of the Opera mask? And I was just like, yeah,
because that's edgy.
Does he talk? No, but he's like so brooding that it's like he's so dramatic without saying anything, and that's so perfect for him, and I love him. And then O can't wear a mask because he's a ghost, but oh my god, no, actually, back on that, O would wear a Phantom of the Opera mask because God, that's funny. He'd do it for the meme. Phantom of the Opera is on his playlist. But yeah, those are my boys. What would Dante?
I mean, it's not the most practical. I'm thinking like, your classic kind of masquerade-y kind of mask, or I'm seeing her, and I'm sure that she's worn this at some point, and I'm not paying attention, in like a hat that's got like the netting that comes down.
Oh yeah. I'm on trial for my husband's murder, and I've just been declared not guilty.
Yes. So that's kind of how she walks around when she has to. In the sunlight, we touched it a little bit, but she's got like these long gloves and this big umbrella and these like hats and sunglasses, and it's very sort of like, ooh, the mystique, like this is my fashion choice, and it's really just like, I don't want to get my skin burned, like, but like some big cool sunglasses would be very face hiding-y. I love her.
Oh, I also love her. God, she's perfect. Rain just texted me and said, I would like a Louisa stream of just opinions, perhaps a podcast.
Listen, starting up soonish, I'm gonna continue my playthrough of The Last of Us, so if you want to hear me talk about video games, I'll do it. I talk a lot. I do have a podcast. It's called Harbingers. You should go listen to it. I just have a lot of thoughts on things, and anytime anyone wants to hear me talk about things, I'm happy to.
I want to hear Louisa talk all the time, always, forever. That's it.
Yes, Maddie, I am getting back to The Last of Us, because the second one is coming out on June 19th, which is Rowan's birthday, which a testament to my love for her that I will not be playing it on the day it comes out. So by June 20th, I intend to have finished my Last of Us 1 replay. So hopefully I'll get back on that for you, Maddie.
Speaking of Maddie, other question. Have your characters left New Pass? Okay, last try. We're gonna get it this time. Have your characters left New Paxton? If so, why did they come back?
Landon, no, he has not left. Born and raised New Paxton. Maeve has gone on road trips and shit, but like, this is her home. She likes her parents. She hasn't any reason to not return. Miranda is not from New Paxton. Miranda is from the South, Georgia specifically.
Thank you.
That's
a big place.
Yes. She then moved to New York, and then she came to New Paxton. So I have a lot of steps in her backstory. She's in there because that's where the fun and interesting stuff is happening with all the supernatural people. Yeah.
Julius grew up in Texas, moved here for college.
You didn't tell me that. God. Oh.
I'm sorry. No, but yeah, Julius grew up in Texas. I thought I mentioned that. He's a country boy.
Yeah. I do.
Why?
Because I've got a lot of family. We love Texas in this house.
I have family in Texas also.
I have family in Texas. I love Texas. I think about it all the time.
But yeah, Julius grew up in Texas, moved for college, which New Paxton University is my brain equivalent of NYU, to dance. And then he and his partner of the time planned on just staying there. They they were supposed to lease an apartment right before papers got signed. Cole moved to California, leaving Julius in the dust. He was homeless for a while, and then he started working for Bloodsport, and now we're here. He also got kicked out by his family when he admitted to dating a boy. So they were like, no, you can't come back to Texas. And he was like, aw, that's sad. So that's his relationship with place and where his body has been. But yeah, he grew up in Texas. And then O is similar to Landon, born and raised in New Paxton, and then didn't get a chance to leave. He was planning, him, Ranger, and Annie were planning on going to college together, hopefully out of New Paxton, because all three of them wanted to escape. Once O died, Ranger and Annie kind of lost that drive to get out, and then O can't get out, so.
Fuck.
The sadness of being a ghost. Like, consider it. Every time I remember the fact that O had to die, I have to take a step back and just be like, like, people mourned him, and like he has a grave that he like goes and can see because his body is dead because he died. Is just a whack thing that passes through my brain often.
To meet Anthony. I'm so interested to meet Anthony.
And then Reefer and Dante.
Thank you for knowing that I need someone to ask before I'll say these things, which is wild because that goes against everything that you'd think. Reefer is not new to New Paxton, but like is the sort of like pretty new. Like, just I say not new because they've been there long enough to find the best spots to eat food. But Reefer's backstory is after coming to the human world from the Feywild, they were a long distance trucker, coast to coast, just doing all. So they've been all over trucking. And then Dante has always been in New Paxton. She's like left it before, but not like to live anywhere else. But like, you know, people travel. She's traveled to like probably meet with label directors and like radio kind of things. But New Paxton, she's been there for a long time. Woo! Back when it was old Paxton.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I'm so obsessed with all of your characters. I don't think you'll ever understand how much time and energy I put into thinking about this for no other reason than I'm just excited about it.
This particular conversation is really hitting my fantasy of being on a person who's on a panel at Comic-Con answering questions about their work. So this is really exciting for me.
Huh?
I mean,
haven't I texted you before and been like, we will. We should do it by starting up. Jerry Seinfeld will never appear on this podcast, but I mean, that's just my opinion. Oh, Maddie, what is written on O's gravestone? It is his dead name. And then, yeah, it sucks, but it's very accurate to what would happen.
Yeah, bro.
Has Ranger vandalized it multiple times? Yes. We stan an ally. Also trans, but God. And then probably like some religious quote that doesn't like vibe. Like there's a Bible verse on there that I'll probably look up and find. Wait, O is trans? Yes, O is trans. O uses he and they pronouns and was assigned female at birth. O's parents were shitholes, but O never came out because he planned on coming out after they all went away to college far away, and he died midway through his senior year, so didn't get the chance. I'm obsessed with all of you.
Do you have more questions?
I mean, I do. Do you want more questions? Do you want more questions from me? Are you asking me to give you another question?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. This one, we can talk about it or we cannot. I don't know how much we've mentioned it on the actual stream, and it just says talk about what your characters look like. Because I don't know how much we've given in terms of physical descriptions.
Not a lot.
Yeehaw.
So you want to take it away? Or?
I know very in detail everything about how Julius looks. Julius is he's Korean American. Both of his parents are from South Korea. He actually has a very specific face claim that is a K-pop star that I can send to anyone who is curious. He is 5'7", which is significantly shorter than Landon, which is important to me emotionally. He wears eyeliner most of the time, of different shades, but usually red or black. He's not big into doing a lot of other makeup unless he's going somewhere, in which case he'll add like a very vampy, like dark purple or dark red lipstick. He always has, which I was gonna wear tonight, and I was so excited about it, and then I couldn't find my other vampire fang. I was gonna wear them, because Julius always wears a set of fake vampire teeth, is a fun fact. Except when he doesn't, which is the originating incentive of Nice Smile.
Nice Smile.
Was the first time that Landon saw him without fangs in. If you want to see his Pinterest board, it has all of his many outfits that I've thought through extensively on it, because I'm just that kind of person. He has black hair that is like shaved down on the sides and kept in like a little like poof on top that he can also like tie back, kind of like I can. He's gorgeous, hot, brilliant, wonderful, amazing, hot. He's very a traditional like twink body type. He's not like muscular, he's just kind of like thin, but like not like thin in a way where you're like, oh, worm, like just kind of like, oh, okay. And then O looks like me, but like the way I imagine specters is when they're manifested is that they're blue. I don't know if that's how specters work. I imagine
have a soft blue in my head.
Yeah,
I
like
also think blue.
So the way O looks is just he's blue glowing me, but he's wearing actually this flannel, and the reason that he's wearing this flannel is because I don't know if I can show it. There's a really big tear down the back, and O's front looks pretty normal except for a couple rips in the front part of his jeans that kind of look like they were burned there. But if you like see his from the back, like the back of his shirt is torn open, and like on like the one of his like jean legs is just like torn up, because that's the fun thing about specters is that it does say this in the book, they look the same as when they died, and like he can't change clothes, he can't like change his look. So luckily he got hit kind of like straight on but to the side by the car, so it's not like he still looks kind of just like a regular person if you're just kind of looking at him, but if you look closer you can see like a road rash on like underneath his chin, and like very specifically, this is so dumb that I've thought about it, if you look at the this side of his rib cage, he's wearing a skin tight shirt, and there's just like an indent there, like where his rib cage should be holding his skin like taut, there's just like an indent in, because that's the side that got hit by the car, and that's like a very specific thing that is usually covered by, he's wearing like a loose flannel and a skin tight shirt, but if like wind blows his like flannel you can see it, and it's just like a weird part of his anatomy that I obsess over. Those are my characters.
I'll go. So Landon, I come from the Tumblr roleplay tradition of face claims. So his specific face claim is a man named Aldous Hodge. He was on Leverage. He's cool. So Landon is like a 6 foot tall black guy. His look was somewhat inspired by fan art of Kravitz from the Adventure Zone. In that like he looks like Aldous Hodge, but he has like dreads that he kind of ties back. He wears a lot of like businessy clothes, like a lot of like white button ups and slacks and stuff. He like long coats ish, kind of classic gritty PI wear in terms of like trench coaty things. He like is pretty like broad shouldered and like tall. Miranda is her face claim Keelan Stacy, so she's again these names mean nothing, but she's like 5'1", 5 even somewhere in there. Like very petite woman, like long brownish hair that she usually wears down. A lot of like fashionable clothing, like flats and jeans and like blouses and stuff. Sometimes like nice jackets or whatever, and very specific jewelry that she always keeps tucked under her whatever shirt she's wearing. Maeve is, I'm forgetting the name for face claim off the top of my head, but I can look it up. But she is a redhead with like a lot of freckles and a lot of freckles. She usually keeps her hair in like a high ponytail. She wears a lot of very like, she's very, very lanky. Like she's like 5'10"-ish, very like lots of limbs. And she wears a lot of very like concealing clothing and like darker shades. Yeah, a lot of like just like plain black long sleeves and that kind of thing. Yeah. Oh, she also has glasses, but she doesn't need them anymore, but she's used to wearing them, so she occasionally does.
I love that for her.
And then Dante and Reefer.
Yeah. Well, I'll start with Reefer, because Reefer is more of a conceptual look than a physical one, because my concept with Reefer is just like a person, but something's really like something's off about them. Like I've been looking at a lot of different like people. I don't know, because like Reefer has such a vague looking face, and not vague in like average, but vague in like you can't. Yes, Louisa.
There's a website called This Person Does Not Exist. Are you familiar with this?
No.
Okay, so This Person Does Not Exist is a website that compiles like stock footage and creates a fake person's face. This is not a real face. And usually they look pretty normal, but occasionally you'll get one that just feels slightly off. And I feel like I want to go through This Person Does Not Exist and find you like some off in like fun images that are Reefer-esque.
Yes, I've been looking really hard for like, you know, like the weirdly attractive celebrities, people whose eyes are a little further apart. Like Reefer, you looking at them, you're like, I don't know what gender this person is. I don't know what race this person is supposed to be. I don't understand even like what age this person is, but I just know that something is wrong. So Reefer's, I have tried to capture in my mind and pin down Reefer. I cannot do it because Reefer just isn't human. And then Dante is one so hot. She drives me crazy. I love her. So she's mixed. So she has an Italian mom and a black dad, and she has just like the best body. Like she's I just can't. It's hard to explain just how hot she is, but she's like very sort of, she's a curvy woman. She's just like dignified. She's got like gorgeous curly hair, and she is always wearing business sexy, basically. Like she's got high heels on all the time, and like I do have like I'm torn because I don't want her to look old-fashioned, but I do love the idea of her always wearing shoulder pads and like these like business blazer outfits. So she's like, it's sort of like a thing where it's like maybe she has owned these clothes since the 80s, but also it looks like she's like doing some new trend, but is the 80s. I use Tessa Thompson as a face claim sometimes. Her face isn't exactly right, but like that's the vibe of Dante, and I love her so much. I lose my mind when I think about her because she's so beautiful.
God mood.
Janine, tell us about some of your characters because I have no idea what they look like.
But yeah, Simon is probably the one character that I have the most description about, just because Simon was my first Urban Shadows character and I had to do that, and I also have someone drew Simon for me and I did cry. But Simon is lanky, but also like strong fit in a way. They have gray hair. They usually wear either a beanie or a hat to cover their ears. Gray hair, yeah.
I've been not picturing them correctly.
Gray silverish hair, like not like it's silver. Blue ocean eyes. I love them so much. And then like tanner skin, which is very interesting, just because they are from like the moon court, where you think they would not get sun, and they dress very preppy, like prep boy-ish is what they dressed up as a lot when they were in New Paxton, but when they are in the Feywild, it's very different. Because it's just how they are, and it's a difference in tone of what they wear when they are in their home and when they are like out in the wild. And then Griffin is the other one who we've been having differences in how how he looks.
I didn't know. You didn't tell me, so I said in my mind.
I have this very specific version of him in my mind.
We have the same one, Louisa, I think, because we created. What do you have, Louisa? Because I have something different and Ike has something different.
I mean, kind of Chris Evansy.
That's what I have. I have Chris Evans.
I see. I don't know. I thought I didn't. I've half joked, half serious that he looks like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson a little younger. Like, I like picturing him as Samoan. That's fun for me. Like, I thought he was Mexican when we met him. That's fun for me also.
That's completely fair.
I didn't know that's what you thought of him, and you didn't tell me. Also, can I really quick jump in, because I forgot to add parts about Reefer that I do know? So
Yes.
I was like, so vague. Enigma.
Go
Reefer's
for it.
really tall. Reefer has a mullet, and Reefer wears the craziest shit. End sentence.
Does Reef also have strong sideburns? Because I feel like that's
I think
something I associate with them, but I don't know.
I think so.
don't
I
know.
have attempted to draw Reefer, and I can't see the sideburns because they're enormous cheekbones are in the way they have raised. I can show you guys, because only my homies have seen it. I did this drawing of B Team as like a mystery cover, and I didn't know what O looked like, so it's O right there. But then Reef kind of here, and like it's not a great Maeve, but Maeve concept, wearing a hoodie and jeans. And yeah, but Reefer kind of looks like it looks like a vintage store fell on, and then like the physicality of Kramer from Seinfeld is indeed how Reefer's body looks. Sorry, I just am so obsessed.
I guess I'm valid.
I have so many characters. You guys could ask me what one of them looks like, and I'll tell you.
I don't know what Luna looks like.
Oh,
Like, I imagine.
I forget that she's a physical form.
I
Me too.
I don't know what her person.
Her is Miranda, but older.
I see like a lot of bracelets and like flowy purple clothing.
In my mind, if I have to picture her, she looks like Claire Gillespie.
Well, because Claire's
Luna.
Luna
What
is
does
her character.
Luna look like? Yeah, because I'm seeing like evil.
No, but I
farmer's
think it was
market
even
lady
before that.
with
Like, I just imagine like a short, blonde, like, smiles, and then, like, we'll just be like, I don't know. I just feel like the cutesy, like Luna has the dichotomy of cutesy in my mind. Cutesy wears a lot of, like, or, like, Maddie's, like, outfits, like, that kind of thing, but then is just kind of, like, I don't know why I keep putting this in my mouth.
I think
Maddie feels offended.
She doesn't look like you. She just wears the kind of, like, cute things that you wear. She looks like Claire Gillespie in my brain.
Janine, tell us what Luna looks
like-
like.
So sorry.
with, especially just because there is this thing of, like, Benny finding interest in Luna earlier on, and that being a relationship that happened.
Wait, what? What are you talking
Are Benny and Luna a thing?
Oh my god, did you not pick that up when she was, like, an asshole to you guys at the wedding? I thought she was just an asshole.
I thought she was just being the worst.
She was talking about how she hadn't been a blood bag before. It was for Benny. The session before that, a couple sessions before that, when
Oh, also, can I add one more?
Yes.
I forgot to say it, but Dante has a huge, like, neck scar. Anyway.
Oh, Julius has a giant, like, bite wound taken out of his shoulder. That is very important to his character.
I did not pick up, because I knew that they were, like, working together, and I knew that she was a bitch, and I knew that she was talking about, like, how he had, like, killed me. I didn't know that.
Things we didn't think would come out of this Q&A. This.
So I think whatever Dante is, think of the complete opposite of it, and just, like, that is what Luna is, because that is what Benny is attracted to. But, like, it's the fact that he likes, that is what I imagine of Luna. I thought you guys picked that shit up, so sorry.
Wait, what? Benny's attracted to the opposite of Dante? That's homophobic. Janine, we should have some words. Because it is an important part of the backstory that Benny doesn't like Dante very much, but he does find her very hot because she's super hot.
Well, it's valid of him to be like, well, I need something that is the opposite of this.
That is valid.
And
he's
that's
not valid,
what
but, like,
he found, and that was the amount of things that I want to share with you guys about.
So my farmer's market lady wasn't wrong. Let's just.
She's still, like, very beautiful and like
I'm
has
sure she is.
iridescent, like,
I-
self. She's
Hey now. This
Yeah,
is
she's
what dreams are made of.
He's the worst. I mean, she is also the worst.
yeah.
Was that even on our ship's list?
It was on the ship's list.
It was the ship list.
You hate Dante, or you vibe with the concept that hell is other people.
God, I hope they make each other miserable.
When the fuck did
I
they
hope
get
the sex
together?
is so
Ben,
bad.
You guys don't know about this. Benny was trying to get back with this shit. Before Janine realized that I hate him so much.
Well, that, yeah.
What do you want to know? Well, timeline it doesn't matter in game anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it does in a way. They started a long time, like, after you guys split. I think it was his first time being confident of, like, going out and dating, and he found Luna.
They've
and
been together for so fucking long? Whoa. Shit.
And that's all I'm gonna say about that relationship, because
Damn, he's more of a scumbag than I thought, because he was trying to hit it with Dante. He was
Well,
like,
that's
hey,
why-
mommy, what's up?
That's why Simon and Julius went on a date, was because Cole showed up and was like, let me take you out. And Julius was like, you are hot. Come, let's go.
Because Landon was not there. It was Maeve. Yeah. Oh, and that was when Maeve thought everyone thought she smelled like garbage, and it's all coming back to me.
Because Julius hated her very, very much.
Yeah.
I hate
Maddie,
Benny so much. I'm going to kill him with my bare hands.
very excited for the murder day where we kill Benny, Cole, Deputy Smalls, Luna, Simon's mom.
Donna.
Donna.
You guys don't know who Donna is, but Reefer's gonna kill Donna.
Very excited to kill Donna.
Does
Jane.
Landon want to do things for Dante? No. Would Landon kill Benny for Dante? Yes.
Do I think about Dante hiring Landon to kill Benny? Often.
We talk a lot about AUs and stuff. I'm just imagining an AU where Benny kidnaps and turns Julius to get at both Landon and Dante. I think about that often.
Vampire Julius is a very interesting storyline that could happen, I guess.
It could happen. It's horrifying because if it did happen, Janine, every time you write something down after we say something cursed, it makes my stomach do a little flip. I don't think it would happen because I still have debts on Landon. The time that we need to start getting worried is when Julius no longer has debts on Landon, because that means that Julius can no longer just be like, come here, come save me. Come get me, please. Thank you. Maddie asked, do your characters want children one day? And I really, really want to hear from you, Ike, because I know, but I like to hear about it anyway.
Oh,
I mean-
this hurts so much.
I mean, the answer is in the present, it's no, because she's a vampire. But she wanted to have kids and like have a family, and God, whenever I think about Dante's family, it makes me lose my mind because it makes me so sad, because she like kind of raised her younger siblings, and she's got a couple younger siblings. One of them died. It's fine. Everything's fine. So like
Dante, eat to talk. It's fine.
but she has like her siblings have kids. She has nieces and nephews, and like maybe great nieces and nephews. And she should be married and old and have grandkids, and she's not. And she should have been able to like take care of her parents into their old age. But there comes a point when you have to be like, I cannot visit my own family anymore because I'm not getting any older, and I eat people for like sustenance. So Dante having to have like cut ties with everyone in her life that she cares about. I forget what I was talking about. Sorry, because I got distracted because I'm like, are they still in New Paxton? And I was like, I don't know that they all are. I mean, her parents are dead because she would be 70 years old, or like give or take. I'm sure at least one of her siblings left New Paxton. I don't know. Because like
Family spread.
family spread, and I don't like the idea of them all just sort of being there the whole time and me being like, oh, whoops. But yeah, so the thing that I don't know that you said it in the stream, but I think we said it after Janine was talking to me in the carnival. All the kids, Dante's sort of reaction is very much like she should have had kids. She should have been a mom, and she's not.
God, I love Dante.
And like that was also something that she was kind of giving up on when she like after like a year or so with Benny, she was like, wait a sec, I don't want to have kids with this guy. But like she was like, maybe. Sorry, I need to bring the mood down.
No, you're so
That's
valid.
my
I
favorite.
literally directed it
I'm
at you
gonna
because I
continue
like
writing
hearing about it,
Yeah.
even though it hurts awfully.
It hurts, but I really love that kind of that sort of just like the natural tragedy of being a vampire that comes with it.
I love Dante. 1. 2. We haven't touched on Miranda's backstory yet, but as I said, I do have 17 pages. And a fun fact about Miranda is that she does have a child. Kind of the inciting incident of her backstory is basically she had a teenage pregnancy due to some like bad sex education, and her parents didn't let her get an abortion, and she like had the child, and she was like, okay, now that I've had the kid, I'm going to raise them, and her parents said, no, like we don't want this child in our house, this child of wedlock. We are going to put the baby up for adoption, and we're not going to tell you where. And they took her kid from her. It's a very... I have a lot more details on this. I have a lot of shit on Miranda's backstory, but this is a key and inciting incident to who she is. So yeah, the kid is out there somewhere. She doesn't know where. And it's very sad. And it has to do with a lot of her issues. It's based on that. She loves kids. It's her one weakness. If she ever encounters kids in the story, she'll be so nice to them to a degree that you're like, what is happening? Where did the bitch go? Why is she being so nice to these kids? And it's a lot of guilt surrounding that. Landon has the same kind of stance that I do, which is like, if I'm with someone who really wants kids, maybe, sure. He's a really complicated relationship with his parents, and like he feels like he could fix their mistakes, but he doesn't feel compelled to. And it, like, he's a complicated relationship. If his person he ends up with long term is really invested in having kids, maybe it's not something he thinks about a lot. Maeve, I don't know. I feel like she loves her parents and like wants to, I think, to some degree, have like a pretty classic nuclear family. I think she wants kids. I think she wants to settle down with a nice woman and adopt some children and raise them right. Yeah.
God, I love Maeve. Julius and O have pretty similar feelings on kids, which is that, well, I guess they are different. Julius was an only child. He grew up very lonely. He grew up with very high expectations. And especially now, as caged as he feels that he's like, I'm never going to escape, this is it for me, he also feels freer than he ever was when he was living at home. And he's allowed to like be himself, and he's allowed to be like wanted and like viewed, and he wouldn't give that up for anything. And he doesn't want to be tied down by any like small creature, so he doesn't personally want kids. If like there came a time in his life where he felt really stable and he was just like, I need a new adventure and I want to take care of something. Like, he fully believes in his ability to take care of kids. Like, at the carnival, you kind of saw he loves hanging out with kids. He thinks they're cool and fun and that they deserve respect as any other human being does. O was hurt a lot by his parents and is so scared of being his dad that he refuses to give the opportunity for it to happen. So he will refuse to have children. Well, that was his feeling before he became a ghost. Now he doesn't have a choice. But yeah, that was his view before he became a ghost, was just that I can see the parts of myself that are like my dad, and I refuse to let them overtake me, and I refuse to hurt anyone in the ways that I've been hurt. Therefore, I will not have children. So that's kind of... So it's a no, 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 and then 2 yeses? Unless Reef. Did you talk about Reef?
Miranda is has a kid, wants
it
to
happened.
Kid, wants to raise the kid.
Dante's a yes, if she could have.
Oh my god. I just had a major character realization. Sorry, Miranda is absolutely keeping the tracking spell shit. Oh man. Janine, I'll talk to you about this more.
Okay.
We'll chat more later.
Okay. Things that I was gonna say after the thing. there is an alternate reality where Janine said, let's make anomalies of a team, which would have been Landon's anomaly being in a successful,
Oh my
fun
God.
brother still alive. I am happy with my family, not having to deal with the demon. Julius having an anomaly who is happy and is thriving as an artist with a very stable relationship with a boyfriend. An old Dante who has grandkids and has had a successful marriage and has like good kids and a nice family. That was something that Janine thought of and said, I'm going to be nice and not do that plot line, and why I'm telling everyone else, because I'm not gonna do that shit. I really sat there and I went, oh, that would be fun. Ooh. Things that go in my brain sometimes.
Louisa Blatt holds the fastest way to just absolutely shatter my heart, and she didn't do it, and I thank God for that every goddamn day.
Me too.
So it is
fucking putting
late.
Puck in the...
Puck in the box with the poison, yeah.
Yeah.
That was the meanest thing I almost did. It's fine.
You thought of it in my room, and you went, oh, I could... Like, you basically said to me, you were like, I could kill you, and then you were like, I'll decide later. And I was just like, we were just laying, like, you were on my couch, and I was laying on the ground.
I just thought of the meanest thing I could ever do as a DM. It works extremely well in the plot. It's a great motivator. It does all sorts of things, but my God, is it fucking mean. And then I didn't do it, but...
It's some things, planned stuff, what we do. Ike, how many more questions do you have? Or are they...
Maddie said Maddie has infinite questions if we want to tap into that at some point, but...
It is getting late for you guys.
It is also 10:30.
I mean, I have a bunch of... I have a couple questions, but, like, it depends.
Another time?
Maddie asked about mage streams. We're not playing Major this summer because I paced it not for being a summer game. So we might do some side games, and maybe I'll stream those.
Yeah, these sort of go together. I'll do a question.
If we keep going, I need to go get caffeine because my head hurts.
Dig it.
So if we can take like a 2-minute breather,
We're back.
stretch.
Drink some water, baby.
I would like to end with the last rating question that I have. That leads
Dig.
to the next thing.
But I've got... I think I'm not going to ask this one. This one, maybe. But this one I'm kind of... And by this one I mean 2. But it's like 1.
What sucks is that we're like the only 2 that doesn't have the stream open, so we can't see what they're saying to us.
Yeah. So big props to that. Yeehaw. Yeah. Can I get a yeehaw? And I don't know if they're giving me a yeehaw, but if you just sort of span the chat with yeehaws so that when Louise and Atlas get back, they'll be a little confused. That would be really nice. I'll love you forever. I won't know that you do it unless they react to it, but I'll love you forever. God, I love her so much.
I love this game so
I just
much.
can't...
Yes?
Benny and Luna, I cannot understand. How long have you known about that, Janine?
Oh my God, a long time. That was like one of the first things I came up with when you gave me Benny.
Oh my God.
That's why I wanted to know more.
I love that I haven't picked up a single thing.
None of us picked up on it.
None of us noticed this. God. Other fun things about Benny that I gave him are that he wears bad suits. And I really appreciate that because he's allowed to be handsome and young and whatever, but he has bad taste in fashion. Great taste in Dante's, but he doesn't know how to use it. Waste. He has motherfucker.
This was a question that I was writing, but I think it's gonna be for if we want to. That's more of like the in text kind of a thing.
Side note: the thing I realized was Miranda has components to a tracking spell. She's fighting her son. Oh my God.
Yeehaw.
Like,
Can I get a yeehaw?
That's what she's gonna use it for. So warning, if that ever comes up, that's what that's
I mean, I figured that's what you meant
intended.
when
Yeah.
you had that moment of
Yeah.
realization.
I was like, oh, obviously, duh. That's one of the 2 main reasons she accumulates power, is to find her son and care for him, and then of course the other one.
The amount of things that I've come up with just from like having these questions with you guys is so much fun.
Mean.
I'm concerned and excited.
No, most of them are like really sweet.
Okay.
Oh, lovely.
It's a Griffin moment that I'm very excited about.
Boy.
Also, my personal favorite, on Tuesday night stream, when I did the belt loop thing, I did get a text from Rowan Davis being like, hey, that's our thing, and I'm like, stop it.
That's a smooth move.
I pulled that a lot during when we were going crazy during Tech Week of Starcatcher. Dog.
Ducky. Frog.
Dog.
No, stop. Sit. Why are you the worst?
He's not the worst. He's the goodest.
I hate you.
Love him with my heart. Just one of them, though. Not all of them.
Oh, okay.
One of your hearts.
Are you the doctor?
Nope. He's only got 2.
This is my other pet.
Screw you. Let's step on a Lego.
I say the same thing about Jess sometimes.
I just took my leg out. I just fucking jammed. Ow. Oh, that fucking hurt.
Wait, did you actually step on a Lego?
No, I slammed my shin into that box.
I'm gonna bring it back downstairs. But
Oh,
she also didn't want it in her room because she would eat it, so she was trying to throw it at me. That's what that was.
Did it wrong.
We love siblings.
Siblings, 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 siblings. This is my sister.
This
This is my brother.
is my brother.
We love and we care for each other. Everything we own, we always share because we are siblings and we have the same hair.
See, it works really well for Vlad siblings because the oldest Vlad is a lawyer.
The void of space is a vast expanse. Come on, let's do the sibling
Sibling
dance.
dance.
Wait, bands?
No.
Come on, let's do the sibling.
Hi, Boomy.
Oh, I look at chat and it's just Maddie saying yeehaw 80 times.
Yeehaw.
God bless.
Yeehaw.
I love you forever, Maddie.
Maddie, I already did love you forever, but
Yeehaw!
I asked if they would give me a yeehaw, and
Jesus
they
told
did.
me to kill the president.
Because we can't see the chat. We don't
Just
know what's
a dead
happening, so
scene.
it's complete trust on our end.
What'd you say?
I need a mountain.
Best part is that's a quote from a book.
Alice, this is what happens when you drink all the mountain. You have to deal with this BS.
Actually, I'm just quoting a book.
We love siblings. I know they have
Best
one.
part is that's not
You
even.
need Jesus.
The best part is that's not
Oh
even.
my god. I just almost
The best part is that's the
killed
least
Those are mine
confusing
are
thing from that
back
part of
there,
from that part
up
of the.
there.
part
Except
of
they're
the
probably downstairs
series.
right now.
The exact same part. The main character.
The other
That's
side
where
of
the
that wall.
rooms are. Brother's room, upstairs. Kitty's room,
So he's a
behind me.
hot Cheeto girl.
It's also crippled.
So me.
No, because he has to move around via horse.
I have a question, and I don't know whether we want to answer it or not. Are there any decisions that your character made that you reconsider? Like you not would like to go back and remake, but just like sometimes we make decisions and then we're like, maybe I shouldn't have done that, but that's what I did, and that's what's up. And if that's not sparking anything, I also have a question that's kind of
No, I'm just
on
gonna.
a similar vein, which is, are there any canon scenes that we didn't see in detail that you are interested in having seen that we just didn't play out for whatever reason?
It's all good.
Like, good question or bad question?
No, it's a good question. I'm just thinking. The first one, nothing is
You just made
super
me
coming to
laugh.
mind, just because I try not to dwell on those things.
Yeah, it's true. It's something that I don't
I'm
like
sure
to.
they exist, but like, I don't know.
Yeah. That's why I was hesitant about it. Addy boy, you frozen or dissociating really hard.
I'm assuming the latter based on that blink.
The blink was there, baby.
Rip to Jaina. Let's see.
Get everything off of my desk for a couple seconds. Because I'm in flux.
That seems adorable, boys.
I think the main one in terms of scenes I would want to see that we didn't necessarily play out in detail is like there was the time span in between like the first session we did and like the sessions with Ike, where like Julius and Landon had like they were kind of avoiding each other in an interesting way, and like Landon was trying to get into blood sport, and like Louis was blocking him. There was a lot of stuff that we like talked through in between the first and second ones that I think is very interesting, especially because like we talked about Louis' death, but I don't think the stream got to see Louis ever.
I never met him.
Yeah, and like I think that like his death would make more sense to people if like the kind of reactions we had if we like had seen more of that. But like yeah, basically, I yeah, that's my answer.
Yeah,
Good answer.
I wish something I said at the beginning, which is all moments between Julius and Dante. I want to see more of that, and I want to play out in more detail kind of the way they talk to each other and how they interact, because I think they have a very specific type of relationship that you only like is very fun to act out, which is like inside jokes and understanding each other by like sharing a glance and like kind of just being like on the same wavelength with someone in a way that you don't always get to be on that wavelength. And like it's not something you really get by getting close to someone. Like it's just when you meet someone and you go, okay, we can like I vibe with you. And they also have interacted a lot and get each other in different ways, but I feel like they wouldn't be as close as they are if they hadn't met and then been like, okay, you're cool, and I want to like, I trust you enough to like continue this. But also Louis, we got to see Louis once, and
It's appreciated though,
yeah, like even before stream, but like in game we interacted with Louis like one time, when he is like the catalyst for a lot of shit for Julius, like most of how Julius is now, which is just kind of like, I don't know. And I think that goes back to scenes I wish I had played out more. I mentioned it a few times during it, but Julius had kind of a breakdown after they left the Feywilds, and I kind of just let it go because I felt like it wasn't necessary, but also I feel like he had a really big realization that currently everything he ever wanted has somehow been taken from him, and that anytime he starts to feel comfortable or safe, like something fucked up happens. And like that happened in Bloodsport when he was finally like feeling okay. Like when he first got there, he was like, this is a safe place, and then they were like, we're vampires, and he was like, oh shit, I guess I'm putting my life on the line. And then he eventually got comfortable at Bloodsport, and then he got attacked by a werewolf, and then he was feeling comfortable with his relationship, or he was feeling comfortable at Bloodsport again with a regular, and then the regular was like, you don't have to live the rest of your life being fed upon. And Julius was like, I do though, and I can't dream past this. And then as soon as he dreamt past it, he got transported to the Feywilds. And then as soon as people came to save him in the Feywilds, like people started coming to try to kill them. And then as soon as they kind of dealt with that, Luna was like, Luna transported into his brain his worst fear, which is Landon dying for him. Like he, every step of the way, when he's finally found a place to feel comfortable or a place where he feels safe, it has been stolen from him. And I think I wish that I had stuck to that version a little bit more, because as much as I love when they went back, the Julius and Dante dance sequence is a favorite moment of mine. I think I will like keep that in my like bag of moments I got to roleplay forever. But Julius really is really fucked up right now, and is kind of just keeps pushing it down and moving forward because he doesn't think he'll ever get to, like, he keeps being like, if I ever get to a place where I'm safe again, then I'll deal with it. But he doesn't believe he'll ever get to a place that's safe again, so he doesn't think he'll ever have to deal with it. So that's kind of my analysis of how Julius is doing, and I kind of wish I had explored how fucked up he is a little bit more, because the Feywild's really fucked with him in a way that kind of, like, got glossed over, which is valid because he would have, like, tried to suppress it, but, like, sometimes I just think about it and go, I would be not okay.
In a slightly lighter shift, another thing I would love to, like, explore more and see more of is like Maven Isabel's YouTube channel.
Yes.
Yes.
Like, I wanna
yes.
explore them, like, actually working on that and going and filming stuff for it, because, like, the Maeve is, like, has only been a werewolf for, like, a month in game, and, like, we haven't super explored, like, what that month was like for her, because we're starting there, but, like, she got hooked up with Griffin and Baby Protected, and then kind of just thrust into this world, and, like, has tried to continue life as normal, and, like, is a YouTuber, which is, like, a interesting career choice. And I don't know if Zoe ever watches these, but something that I played a game of Fiasco with Zoe, and Zoe was a social media manager.
Von Von!
I did such a great...
What's up, Von Trash?
That, like, I was, like, inspired kind of by that, and also by just, like, seeing gifts at BuzzFeed Unsolved on my dashboard. And I was like, this is a fun and interesting career for, like, someone in the supernatural world to have. And, like, what's the ramifications of having a show about the supernatural when it's real? Yeah, so that's something I'd love to explore more.
The Maeve, that's something I want
Ghost
to
adventure episode.
I want to, like, role play that out, because I think that'd just be, like, a really fun side quest, especially if we brought Reefer along, who's just, like, I don't know, I imagine in my head Reefer's always carrying a clipboard, and it's just like, oh.
I mean, Reefer is carrying a notebook often, especially when they're on a case, on a mystery on the trail. They gotta write down the clues.
Oh, I love Reefer so goddamn much.
One of the qualities that I gave Reaper when I was constructing them, I was like, I want them to have, like, an earth thing that they're really obsessed with. So I was like, Sherlock Holmes. Reaper loves Sherlock Holmes. And, like, that is a big driving force. So when there's something that's, like, vaguely mysterious, it's like, ooh, this is my chance. Yeah.
God, I'm a Reefer stan.
What about you, Ike, with the question that you
The question that I asked, I regret not killing Benny on sight.
That would have been hilarious. Oh my god, Janine's like, it's Benny.
Yeah, no,
Oh, it wouldn't be good. I think she would go straight for the neck.
Ghost gun.
I mean, oh yeah, Dante just goes for the neck. Yeah, I
Give Julius
I
again.
asked about regrets, but I don't like that question a lot because I try not to have them. I think in a similar vein, I don't actually know if it's in a similar vein because I cannot remember with my brain. There's a lot of moments that are, like, very small, and I get why we don't do them, because I don't really want to play them out, but I think that I'll talk about myself for a second. Some of Dante's most interesting moments are, like, in these very normal, quiet times when she's interacting with people in a kind of normal way. Like, and she doesn't have to do the big sort of thing, the big Dante thing. So, like, there are little scenes, like she had Kathy and Finn over at her apartment one night, like, and she, like, I do her radio show in my brain sometimes, just a little bit, because it's a music show, so she doesn't talk a ton on it, but, like, I listened to her intro, like, when she came back from the Feywild, like, apologizing for having been gone, or I don't know, I just think she's neat. and off the dome, I can't think of anything that, like, I was like, oh, I wish I could have seen that. Like, but yeah.
God, I love Dante.
It's late, so I'm gonna do the last question.
Yeehaw. Oh, I have a really quick question, though. Can I shoot it in?
Yeah, go for it.
It's because it's my last question, except for one that I'm not going to ask. Are there any tics that you have picked up from playing this game?
I noticed all of us doing one. We all said caught flat-footed. We've all worked it into our vocabulary. I've noticed it. Never said it before this.
Yeehaw.
I do this all of the time now, and it's because I started doing it with Julius. So now I'm just like I'll just like be talking and I'll just be like, well, and I'm just, like very loose wrists, which probably I should have been doing this whole time based on everything about me, but I like it. That's a personal one where I'm like, I enjoy that I do that now. I like using my hands, and I'm glad that I use my hands in a more flamboyant way.
I think it's me playing with the pen, and you can tell which character I'm playing based off of how I'm like interacting with the pen. And I think there was one stream where I was like, Luna, I lost the pen, couldn't find it, and picked up another one from my desk.
That's berserk, bro.
I'm like, because Luna is like very much like this, and then you have Kathy who's just like,
Yeah. This has kind of left my parlance, but when we started playing, I did call people baby and baby doll a lot more than usual. Because also, like, in play, I haven't used that tick as much. But like the first time I played Dante, literally everyone, if it's not a business relationship, it'll be, when we met Luna, it was Luna baby.
What I love is that Luna is Luna baby, and I'm still Mr. Pierce.
Mr. Pierce, yeah. It's very telling, and I think it's an important character trait that, like, Dante's like use of the word baby, it's like a really weird thing, because like sometimes it's like endearing and sometimes it's condescending, and sometimes like people don't deserve it. Like Benny will never be Benny baby, like, ever.
Julie baby is so important to me.
Julie baby, it's like that one's sincere, but like, but I would call it like baby. Listen, baby, baby. I love it. The first time I did it, I was like, Austin Powers a little bit. Only a little.
I'm so pro.
Now, let's see, we're gonna say something and I don't know what to do.
I'm just pro Dante.
I feel that.
God.
I love her.
I'm proud of her.
But you do something that's very interesting. That is, I can tell which character you are. Icarus, just like if you're playing Reefer or if you're playing Dante, or if you're talking as Icarus, I never have to be like, was that in character, because I can tell, because there's a complete shift of person. Like, it is 100%. And it's excellent, and I love it very, very much.
I feel like there's others. I absorb language like a sponge.
Oh,
Yeah.
I key smash now, and it's your goddamn fault. And I don't want to.
Sorry, I'm a key smasher now, so are you.
The different habits or like little tics that I've picked up from you guys in general is also a thing.
My favorite thing is watching people take things that I know I did.
Yeah, I do it. Yeah, it's
because I will know where I got some weird thing from, and then I'll see other people do it.
This I know I got from Rowan and Atlas.
Mm-hmm.
This, and I'm like, guys.
I don't honestly remember. It was something, I don't know if it was for Seer, but it was something like that like I know where I picked it up, because I picked it up looking for slang for a thing that I was writing. But then somebody else using that something that I'm like, I like this.
Hello, young man.
Excellent.
You guys have been doing this a lot too, and I think that's something that I do a lot.
We all do this all the time, and every time I notice
this is my new favorite thing.
We do it all the time.
That was you.
I don't.
You got it from TikTok or something, and
I was about to say I don't know who gave it to everybody, but it's a disease.
No, I know. I think it's Roxy. Not to call Roxy out, but I think this is from Roxy.
I think it's Atlas from TikTok because it feels like a TikTok motion.
It is a TikTok trend, so that makes sense.
TikTok motion because it's like weird and robotic and like this.
It is a TikTok thing. It's along the same line of like that's.
Okay. We're off topic. This is the last
final question
of the night. We don't have to fully answer this because we're going to be answering this in a one-shot.
Oh yes.
Rain's question is, if the characters went to high school, what were they like? And would they have been friends? This is actually going to be completely answered in a one-shot that soon will be running.
Well,
what are people doing next Friday?
You finish and then I'll say my thing, which is to be fair.
Social distancing at home.
We're doing another Powered by the Apocalypse, which is Monster Hearts. I'm throwing them in teenagers.
It will be A team.
It's going to be 18 for sure. So we can answer it as B team if we wanted to. But yes.
No, we should answer it as A team.
I mean, I was just gonna say that, like, to be fair, it's not necessarily like. This is like this is as if we were writing a high school AU of Urban Shadows rather than being like this is because our characters in high school were all like Landon, I guess not, but Landon had not been vampire hate yet, and like
Julius was just a normal teenager in Texas.
Yeah, so like them as actual teenagers, sad. Them as themselves, but teenager like adjusted story, very exciting.
Julius
Reaper didn't go to high school, and answer.
Julius doing a striptease to Devil Went Down to Georgia in a cowboy hat and spurs.
Well, great. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Welcome to my brain. Ashes chaps? Never mind. We're moving on. Don't get me started on Julius's wardrobe. I will.
Maeve was a classic high school lesbian. You know, you've met them. Let's see. I mean, Landon we'll talk about during the one shot. Miranda's high school life extremely complicated. Again, having to do with her teenage pregnancy. Very, very, very complicated. Long story short. First
Why did I put my hair back up? It's
ring sweetheart. Second 2 years of high school. Alpha bitch.
Louisa, Rain just said, haha, you're cursed with bottom key smash disease. So,
correct.
It's not okay.
Yeah, you cursed me with bottom key smash disease.
It's not what it is.
I cast bottom your key smash.
I don't know any of my. Simon was homeschooled. That's what it'd be when you're royal.
And then when you're feral, you're also homeschooled.
Yeah.
I think about Reef's feral upbringing all the time, and it brings me joy.
Why? But I feel like Simon and Reefer would just be such an interesting duo. I don't know why, but it would just be so interesting.
There's a lot of dynamics I just want to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that my favorite part of that question is, would they have been friends?
Yeah.
Specifically, thinking about the people that would be in high school together, which would have been O and Maeve, and possibly Julius.
Miranda's the right age for it, but it's different.
Julius and Landon would also fall into, they would have gone to high school together.
Yeah,
but different, not with the other two. And then Reefer's a fae, and Dante's like 70.
Went to high school in the.
I mean,
yeah, she graduated in 1970, I think.
Assuming they were all in high school at the same time.
If they're all in high school at the same time as who they were in high school, I think Dante would be friends with Landon if she wasn't a vampire. And
yeah, I agree. I think Dante and Landon, if it weren't for the fact that Dante was a vampire, would be extremely close. I think that's just a true fact about them, and I think it's something I'm interested to explore. Or that Landon didn't hate vampires, which is probably the one that's likely to change.
Yeah, I don't think Dante's going to be not a vampire anytime soon, except if she gets deadified. But that's something that I'm trying not to have happen unless it's under very story-appropriate circumstances. She's not going to die.
I think Maeve and O absolutely would be friends. 100%. Like, they're like high school gays. They all live together.
God, oh my God, imagining like O being best friends with Maeve, and then like Maeve's parents being like, "Oh, you go by Orion? Okay, like okay, we can try. We'll try." And like her mom just like elbowing her dad when he like gets it wrong, and I'm gonna cry. O deserves so much better.
O does deserve
Come have
so
dinner
much
at the
better.
Connors. Maybe we'll invite you on family dinner sometime. Absolutely.
Oh my
I
God.
want to go to family dinner at Maeve's house so bad.
Like,
Sometimes I'm
Maeve's
like-
dad was so much fun.
So
The
cute.
one session that I got to play that, it was so wholesome because nothing bad was happening in that family dynamic.
Sometimes I'm like, oh, I put parts of my characters in, or I put parts of myself in my characters, and then sometimes I'm like listening to y'all talk about your characters and imagining like my characters. I'm like, oh, Worm, I put parts of myself in my characters, and now I'm gonna cry about it. Oh, I love all of your characters so goddamn much.
God, I want to use my character to make all of y'all's characters happy.
Julius?
Even Luna?
No, not Luna.
Actually, I will use Luna to make my characters happy. I will use her by killing her, making her be
Yeehaw.
dead.
Yeah, no, Dante picking up a collection of young 20-somethings that are the other characters in this campaign. She's like, guess I have to kill for you now. Like, if she finds out about Detective Smalls will be dying even faster. Deputy Smalls, excuse me.
I just love the idea of just making Deputy Smalls' life absolute hell. Just absolutely bonkers hell.
Still, the thing that gives me giggles is you trying to fuck up Kathy's day, and she does not give a shit.
He doesn't have anything against Kathy in particular. She was just happy and he wasn't. And sometimes that's enough. I think O and Maeve, I don't know if Julius can't exist as he is now in high school. Like, in a way that I'm comfortable with, like, having him exist.
Yeah.
Like, under 18, Julius just, as he is now, doesn't exist, which is why I'm excited for Monster Hearts, because I get to scale him back in a way that I am comfortable with, and I do think that him and O would have been friends in high school with the way that I'm going to play him in Monster Hearts. Dante and him, I think, have a possibility of having the same relationship.
Sorry.
I'm so nervous, but I'm unsure of whether or not Landon and Julius would get along in high school.
I'm sure, yeah.
I'm completely...
Simon's getting thrown into this nest, and I'm so excited.
Janine's like, finally, you guys can stop fucking up my plan.
Have the Julius-Simon relationship that they've always wanted.
I can finally swoop in and take Julius for myself.
Because
Oh my
it's
God.
just, I don't...
I can
well,
touch
Landon
part of the
up.
problem is, Louisa, me and Ike have gone into deep detail with how we're going to be playing our characters, and you're just kind of like, I don't know.
I mean, I'll talk more about it, or I can surprise you all.
Well, that's the problem is I kind of want to be surprised, but also I have so much love put into Lulius that the idea of a alternate universe where they don't end up together is just like a little bit heartbreaking.
Landon translates to me very easily, like, to high school in terms of, if we're just moving his backstory earlier, I think he's very, very similar, where, like, instead of law, it's debate. But, like, it's this, like, to me, a lot of Landon's aspects are, like, he acts like a sullen teen, and he's, like, hypocritical, and he lashes out, and he's moody, and, like, him as an adult has a lot of teen-like behavior.
Listen, all you need to do to jumpstart the high school Julius is have Landon save Julius from a vampire once, and then it's fucking
Oh my god,
Ready.
the werewolf attack? That'd be sexy if Janine somehow wrote in Julius's getting attacked by a
That's
werewolf into the plot, which is an option because I haven't written it in yet.
I don't know. We'll see what Janine does.
We'll see what
I'll be
Janine
playing-
does.
I'll be playing
Though
high
that
school
would make it
in
more
one
likely
story.
for Julius to happen in game, and we all know that Janine is a firm what would their name be? Jaimin? A Jaimin
No.
a Jaimin shipper?
Jaimin. L is for Landon.
A Jaimin shipper, so
Also
or a Julius. Ooh, I like Julius.
What do you mean? Their super name is, of course, Silly Ass.
Here's the thing. The things that Janine ships the most. Dante and Griffin. So bad. Because I just want good. Why do I feel
You
like
want- I'm sorry, you want good things for Dante?
do you want
Could have
good things
fooled
done?
me.
Never showed that before, huh?
Here's the weird thing.
I'm
Number one
joking.
thing-
Griffin's a gift.
Number one thing I should. Julius. Number two thing I should. Landon and Dante.
That's fair.
I can't wait.
I'm sorry that it's so attractive to me, and I think about it every day.
Two options. Julius dies, Landon and Dante are brought together in the aftermath. Option 2, Landon and Dante abandon Julius to get together.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say, which I guess is option 3, polycule.
Well, yeah, I'm obviously I'm the biggest voter for this ending in a polycule. But I don't know. I think there's just something neat about Julius getting abandoned. Some people want really good things for Julius. Some people are me, and they only want bad things to happen to him. It's neat. Stop shaking your head at me. I'm valid.
I
Let's
cannot
see-
see them abandoning Julius together.
Well, then Julius, like, in this universe, Julius does something worth being abandoned over. Like joining Luna or getting, corrupted. Like,
Okay. But, like...
Can I
Okay.
see a reason why that would happen? Not currently, but... Or, like, him getting pulled back in by Cole. Like, something fucked up happening. Something really bad happening to Julius. And then
It
Dante
would have to
and
be
Landon.
something that they couldn't, like, rescue him from.
Yeah.
Because that is step 1. Just like in the Feywild.
Yeah.
Or just Landon falling out of love with Julius and them not abandoning him, but them getting together by themselves.
Here's the thing about Dante and Landon.
Like they
It
have
has to
another
start-
watch, and then they accidentally have hate sex, like as much as you can accidentally have sex.
Yes,
And then
here's-
it's just
yes,
being
here's
like-
the thing. Landon and Dante will not... If it happens, I don't think it happens, like, because they've, like, come to... Like, I feel like it starts with hate sex if it's happening.
No, but that's the beautiful thing is like it starts with hate sex, and then they're like, we can't tell Julius we did that. Also, like this won't happen again, but then it happens again, and then it slowly like friends or enemies. Currently, the
Also,
trajectory
Landon
would be
never do that to Julius. So...
Yeah, it's like, it's...
enemies to
It's not
friends
gonna
to
happen
enemies
to
to friends to lovers is
Uh,
my vision.
No, there's a really fun, and by fun I mean sad, alternate universe where this whole time Dante has just been in love with Landon. That's not how I've been playing it, so that's not what's true. But like the idea of that makes me hurt in my heart.
There's the AU where like Simon and Landon tell Julius what it is, and Simon ends up with Julius just like out of guilt or whatever, and then Landon just goes off a weird bender and maybe ends up begging Dante.
God, there really is a cursed ending where they told Julius, and Julius had to end up with Simon and spends the rest of his life like gently hating Simon for
Yeah, that's the
everything.
reason why Julius will never know.
Because Julius doesn't want to, but Julius feels, as we said earlier, feels like he owes Simon, and especially if this is like a life-saving situation rather than just like a heart-saving situation, like that would be the final push to be like, I need to do it. I don't know. I'm very excited for Monster Hearts. What are people doing this time next Friday?
What day is that?
Friday.
This time next Friday?
No. Like
Oh,
day.
number. Numerically.
No, it's in June. I don't think I have plans, but you never know. I shouldn't.
If no one's busy and we want to just do Monster Hearts next Friday.
Yeah, we'll say a soft okay for that, and I won't try not to plan anything for Friday.
Sexy. Thank you for coming to the stream.
Thank you for all your questions. It means so much that you acknowledge our existence with your knowing that it exists. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, I'm existing out, and then the fact that I'm engaged with my existence from you means that it means something.
It's the world.
I just like feeling like I'm on a Comic-Con panel.
It's good.
I just like an excuse to talk to people.
I just want to talk about all these characters, and I just want to talk about this stuff that, like, yeah, bye. Sorry.